betrayed WCW. What in the hell is he doing here? Monday Night Raw. Monday Nitro. Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. Wet Steve Ray. The new world order, brother. Let's get this. We are at war.
Here you go.
All right, let's get Nitro forth.
Some people really violently, viciously hated this show. I thought it was just...
I can't tell if my spirit's just broken and my standards are so low that this show was... I'm not going to say good, but I had no visceral, primal, guttural reaction.
I didn't either. And, I mean, maybe I will by the time I get done reviewing it, but I think part of it was... Like, they had a couple segments, like the one early with Russo, where I just honestly didn't know what was going on. I was completely, totally baffled.
Which is an improvement over most Russo segments.
But then it was over, and I didn't care enough to go back and try and figure out what was going on, so I just figured you'd tell me. Well, and I moved on with my life.
I will see what I can do.
That was that. Now, it was stupid that they randomly are having a triple cage War Games match on Nitro with no build.
Yeah.
I mean, that's dumb.
It's incredibly dumb.
This is one of the reasons they died this year. That's really, the next year, I guess. Really fucking dumb.
Within the year.
Yeah.
So, yes, the show opens with a hype video for a triple cage match pitting Vince Russo, Scott Steiner, Kevin Nash, and Jeff Jarrett against The Cat, Sting, Booker T, and Goldberg. That's weird. They're in a triple cage match with no build on Nitro. And then it's announced the world title is on the line. Mm-hmm. Then I thought, wait, so Booker T has to defend his title against 7 dudes? Hold that thought. Also, just in case you were thinking of turning the channel, the match is called Russo's Revenge. Mm-hmm. Now you're going to stay tuned.
And they also refer to it as War Games, where, well, to be nitpicky, War Games is always held in a double ring, double cage.
That is not nitpicky, Craig. That is accurate.
Okay.
This is not a War Games match, no matter how many times they say it.
Okay. Fair enough.
Insane Clown Posse versus the Filthy Animals for the World Tag Team titles.
Well, first, Jeremy Borash is out there doing commentary. Guess Scott Hudson's wife gave birth, which literally could happen to me at any time during any of these shows, so be ready.
Hope it's on a
He has shaved his head, and this was back when I thought he looked like Dr. Bunsen Honeydew from the Muppets.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that.
They explained that he had lost a bet with Vince Russo about the rating of the first segment of Nitro. I can only imagine what this bet was. I'm going to have to find out. But he shaved his head. He lost. Russo won.
I'm guessing he probably thought that wouldn't his head shaving wouldn't be on TV.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, what could you possibly have bet Russo and lost? And I can't even imagine. But he got his head shaved.
So, Borash is on commentary, as is Konang. This is a Filthy Animals match. And Borash says, and I will do my best to get his tone and inflection in there. Mm-hmm. Konang, you always say you've got it like that. Do ICP have it like that? I laughed. Mm-hmm. So, Konang, he's funny, but he's absolutely burying the show.
Oh my god, he's burying ICP.
He's entertaining himself.
ICP, he says, prove you don't need talent to make it in this business anymore. As they're competing for the World Tag Team titles and that very moment.
I was just appalled because I like Konang and all, but dude, was Konang any better than Violent J at this point in the ring?
Doubtful.
It's a toss-up. And Violent J had
frankly, on the mic either.
Violent J had been working, well, different ways. I mean, Violent J way more successful in his rap career than Konang, for example.
I will clarify. As a wrestling commentator, Violent J was better.
Oh, he was very good.
Yeah.
Konang was very good in a different way, but he had to bury things.
Yes.
Konang was burying ICP, and about that time, Guerrero jumps off the top rope for a crossbody, and Shaggy Tudo, with the best timing I've ever seen.
That's actually true.
Hit a drop kick out of midair and didn't kill him.
That spot looks like crap 95% of the time.
And he pulled it off.
It was Shaggy.
One of the clowns.
Shaggy Tudo, the clown. The worst clown, for that
Yeah,
matter.
the lesser clown.
The worst
timing was
clowns.
perfect.
His dropkick perfect.
Listen, Violent J was not like a great worker, but he was totally fine. He never messed anything up. He did everything he needed to do. He was where he needed to be, and he was fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't bury Violent J.
Why did I bury Violent J?
You didn't. Conan did. Are you paying attention?
Got it. I thought you were mad at me. I assume you're mad at me.
Well, he probably.
So,
Why would you ever assume that?
I don't know.
So the Animals make their comeback and win with a ball shot.
Yeah,
Rob, I'm always mad at.
that's true.
That's true. Rob may have taken my heat.
The heat has shifted.
Yes.
When you weren't here last week, Rob, we had a civil discussion. Oh. I think you trigger him.
No, come on.
So Team Canada.
No, Rob. Don't got all night here.
You recall last week in the Prisoner of War match, Team Canada kidnapped Major Guns.
Yeah.
Right.
So the gimmick.
This show is dumb.
You don't say.
So Lance and Elix Skipper have kidnapped Major Guns, and their goal is to make her into a Canadian.
Right.
Okay. So in order to do so, it's the early Storm Wrestling Academy. He's got her running.
For the very first students.
He's got her running on the treadmill backstage. Mm-hmm. She's sweating,
And bouncing all around.
and he explains she needs to be reintroduced to hard work and perseverance. I guess at some point in Major Gun's life, she did a lot of hard work and persevered, and it's dropped off since she came to World Championship Wrestling. So Lance is gonna work this back into her. So he's making her run on this treadmill, and he says, once you're in shape, you'll be a Canadian. Mm-hmm. She says, I don't want to be a Canadian, but she continues to exercise against her own will. What?
Lance is very persuasive.
That happened. All I know is all Major Guns had to do was get on this treadmill, turn it on, and act like you're running. She couldn't even do that. No.
Well, Vinny, the problem was because she had to act like she was running.
They put it.
If she would have just run, things would probably have been fine.
They put it.
But she had to act like she was running.
half a mile an hour.
Yeah.
And she's trying to take steps and looks. And they spraying her with water to look sweaty.
I'm sure her poor back is just all out of shape.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Kat, Miss Jones, and Booker T get into a limo. Great.
And by the way, Miss Jones in a neck brace.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't care.
Who cares?
Okay. Vince Russo comes out for a promo.
Please explain this to me.
Okay, I will start. First of all,
Then maybe I can get mad.
they lower the triple cage for this, which had to take like 10 minutes.
Maybe Rob should explain it to me.
So
Then I'd
you get mad?
effectively be mad.
So Vince Russo comes out and gets into the triple cage to cut a promo. Mm-hmm. He's in the middle of the ring.
Yes.
He is surrounded by not one, not two, but 3 cages.
Well, he's surrounded by one cage. The other 2 are on top of the first cage.
Either way, the cage has a roof on it that he's in,
Sure.
but he still must have the natural-born thrillers in the aisle to protect him. What's the point of the cage?
Right.
Well, if someone gets in the cage with him, he's in trouble.
Okay. So I will say this.
This is the least of our worries. Tell me about this stupid segment.
Vince Russo is out there in a New Jersey Devils jersey, which he did take the time to personalize with his own name. So full credit for that one. He explains the rules of the Triple Dome cage match. You have to start at the bottom, climb up to the top, get the belt, which, as we later learn, it's not even in the top cage. It's on top. It's hanging above the top of the cage.
It's on top of the
This
top.
is a giant ladder with 3 rungs.
Yes.
Fair.
You have to climb up there and get it.
I could dive off of it. I wouldn't.
Then you have to climb back down and go out the door to leave.
Yes.
Okay.
To win.
To win.
So basically, if I get the belt, but you get it from me and go out the door, you win.
Right.
That's exactly what happened, as it turns out.
What if you took the belt and threw it off the cage?
That's what I thought. That's what I would have done.
It has to go through the door. You got to bring it back in, then bring it back out.
There you go.
I see.
So Russo is listing the teams for this match as the head writer on the show is explaining what the teams are. The announcers on the show are talking over him to explain there are no teams. It's every man for himself. Excellent. Thank you for clarifying that. Then Vince Russo, who has been in a power struggle with a cat for weeks, just declares out of nowhere he talked to Bischoff. The cat has 0 power now.
Well, this week.
Probably this week. I don't even know. I'm sure it'll change.
Sure.
By Thunder, probably. Russo announces that the Booker T team, who he calls the Heels, must compete in qualifying matches before they can get into War Games.
It's not that he just called them the Heels. He said, in air quotes, the bad guys.
Yeah.
He's a doofus.
He at least takes the time to waive the no contact clause between himself and Goldberg.
Okay.
So they there's a little bit of continuity, a thread of continuity he's grabbed onto here. He guarantees that before this night is over, he will leave as the world champion. This brings out Kevin Nash, who goes off about how he is not a fighting champion and will not defend his title every night.
Nash's new gimmick is that he's lazy.
Yeah.
That's not a new...
I am a lazy man.
I forgot he was world champion.
That's right.
Until here.
Well, I did as well.
But
anyway,
all did.
You thought
the
it was
point
Booker
is,
T, didn't you?
Yes. I said that earlier.
I am a lazy man.
Yes.
I am not a fighting champion.
Yes.
I defend my title. I have to defend it once every 30 days. So on day 29, I will wrestle.
I might.
But I will not wrestle every week. Russo says, I'm the boss.
Oh, it's every fucking Vince Russo segment. You gotta do what I say. So Nash grabs him. Thank God the Thrillers are there to protect Russo. Now, Sting comes up through the ring. At this point, I just laughed. I can't...
Came through the ring?
Yeah.
I wasn't even paying attention.
He was coming up.
I heard his music, and then he was in the ring, and then a bunch of dudes run in. What in the hell is going on, I wrote. Booker and Shatter there. I thought they left. Apparently they were coming here. I don't know. Huge brawl. Sting chases Russo to the top.
Think about how long this takes.
They go to the top.
Vince Russo starts in the ring, climbs up 1, 2, 3 cages. There's cat and mouse chase up there. Vince Russo climbs down 3 cages.
Now, I could, as a laborer, I thought about this. They had to put this stupid cage together. They had to hang it from the ceiling. They had to move the lighting grid out to accompany the cage. And then, during one segment, they had to lower the thing. And then Sting came up through the ring. And they had to raise the cage and redo the ring.
Yeah.
All for this. For
this.
one promo.
Yes.
I would have been mad.
So Russo is leaving as everyone else brawls. He points at his head. Ha ha, I'm so smart. Goldberg comes out and Russo runs away.
So he is smart. Whew. Goldberg couldn't catch Vince Russo.
Yeah. Yeah, they had a video where they claimed, and I believe them, that the work crew was there at 4 a.m. that morning building this goddamn cage.
Of course they were.
Because men get up at 4 a.m., that's why.
Oh, I hadn't.
Men go to bed at 4 a.m.
Stupid men.
Steiner and Jarrett are backstage screaming at Russo, because everyone must scream at each other on this show. Here's Jeremy Borash, who has, I don't think, ever been on TV on Nitro before, getting his head shaved for losing a bet we're supposed to carry him. It's the first time he's on camera, except earlier today.
That's a good head of hair that Borash has. Even today.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
The Heresies have footage they demand to be played. They go to a bar. Chronic is there. They beat them up.
And the patrons didn't bat an eye.
No. Regular occurrence, apparently, at this bar. This next thing. Shane Douglas got beat up by Goldberg last week. So he goes to Vince Russo and he says, Goldberg humiliated me last week. I want to be the one who faces Goldberg in a qualifying match tonight. And I want the natural-born Thrillers as my partners. So Goldberg's, Russo's office is like L-shaped. So there's a corner. And the natural-born Thrillers come out as one from behind the corner. Torrie Wilson says, no, we don't want you as our partners. We don't need you. And the Thrillers all go, and they walk back as one. Like fish. So, like a school of fish. They turn as one and walk away.
Shane Douglas got destroyed by Goldberg last week, so he wants the Thrillers to help. And Torrie says, every time they try anything, they screw it up. And I'm like, well, your fucking man screwed it up by himself last week. But she's wearing her pants or whatever, and he looks at her and he goes, all right, I'll take this match by myself. So now he's confident.
You're not wrong.
That he's going to beat Goldberg this week.
He was wearing
He's
pants.
also a fighting man as a heel.
So he leaves. Russo calls the Thrillers. The school of natural-born Thrillers comes back. He orders them to watch Shane Douglas's back.
Hell of a job they did.
Sting in his qualifying match. It's a handicap match against Great Muta and Vampiro.
By the way, did you tell the people that they announced the teams and then they had to qualify to be on the team?
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
You don't say. That is true. So it's a handicap match. In the corner where Sting came up, there's just a big duct tape X. Don't bump here.
They didn't even bother to announce this now, but these are supposed to be qualifying matches. So technically, if Vampiro and Muta win,
yes,
they get put into the match.
Yes.
Correct.
We don't figure that out until later.
Right.
They just have this match, and Sting pins Vamp immediately.
Muta missed Vampiro. Sting was with the death drop.
This whole fucking thing we've been watching for months. This thing's like in a minute. And then Vamp, Muta, and ICP all get into a kerfluffle.
It's a good word.
I can't wait for that storyline to continue.
Back at the Canadian gym, Major Guns is on the bench press machine, lifting like half a plate.
Definitely a body part she needs to work on.
Also, chest, yes. That's the whole thing. She still doesn't want to be Canadian.
But she's still exercising.
Stevie Ray and Russo bitch at each other. Jarrett, Nash, and Steiner talk about Russo.
Stevie is screaming at Russo, and first he goes, I don't want to wrestle tonight. Then he goes, well, I came to wrestle, but I don't want to wrestle him tonight. They don't say who him is. And Russo says, you are wrestling him, and this could be your shot at the title. Mm-hmm. So that's when we realize that if one of the, quote, heels loses, the other person ends up in the match.
Right.
So when Stevie hears this is my chance at the title, suddenly he's cool with having this match, as we'll get into here in a moment.
So, yes, Jarrett, Nash, and Steiner. I'll talk about Russo for a minute. Stevie Ray versus Booker T. Here are my notes in their entirety.
Well, hold on.
Right.
Stevie comes out and he says, Russo threatened to fire me if I don't do what I'm going to do tonight.
I didn't see that part.
I have to face my brother, but I'm not doing it for Russo. I'm doing it for all the fans in the building. And I thought, wait a minute, fucker. When you heard that you had a shot at the title, that's when you decided you wanted to do the match. You were a heel. Now he's out here and he's playing a babyface. So he announces that the man he has to face is Booker T.
I can't believe you watched this.
This match goes maybe 2 minutes. It was not good. Stevie goes for the pedigree. Booker fights free. He tries the bookend. He doesn't get it, but he gets it on the second try, and Booker wins. Now, the key to this was Stevie jumped Booker from behind. So he's a heel, right? Then he cuts a promo and goes, or Booker yells at him first, what are you doing? After he beats him. Stevie goes, I told you a long time ago, suckers got to know. You have to have eyes in the back of your head. Now go get ready for War Games. So now we're supposed to believe that he's a babyface and he's trying to help his brother out. Everything about this sucked from start to fucking finish. You know when they go, what's my motivation?
Sure.
Nobody had any idea what their fucking motivation was in this at any point. And so they all just made it up as they went along. God damn. That's an epic match, Vinny. Booker T versus Stevie Ray, brother versus brother.
Here is everything I got out of that match. They do a match. Book wins with bookend.
You were not paying attention to this intricate storyline.
Do you know why, Brian?
Because it sucked?
It's not important. It's not worth my
This was
time.
a qualifying match, Vinny. Stevie Ray could have had a shot at that title in a triple cage match. Pay attention.
Major Guns has a better chance of being Canadian than Stevie Ray did of beating Booker T. Chronic arrives, beat up the Young Dragons.
Here it was.
All Asians in wrestling are stupid in the year 2000, including those who are not actually Asian. Then Chronic beats up 3 Count 2 because why not? They call it the Heresies. Jarrett comes out instead. Jarrett, for some reason, is the one to announce that the Cat has to face Chronic in a qualifying match.
Why is he making these decisions?
I don't know. I'm getting mad now. So it's Chronic versus the Cat, with Jarrett on commentary. So Cat makes the rational, logical point. Look, Adams, Clark, we are all on the same side. We should not be fighting with each other. we should be fighting that guy. And he points at Jarrett, and Chronic says, this man's right. And they turn their back to go beat up Jarrett, and the Cat, who is supposed to be a babyface, backstabs Bryan Adams, attempts to pin him with a schoolboy, fails, then gets his ass beat, and he is pinned like a geek. Yeah. Meanwhile, Jeff Jarrett has a guitar and is chasing Miss Jones and her neck brace away. And they cut backstage where Vince Russo...
This is where I got mad.
That's fair. Vince Russo is happy and ecstatic that he has gotten the Cat out of the match until it dawns on him that the Cat's place is now taken by both members of Chronic.
No.
It's worse, Vinny.
It wasn't that. It's
Russo is happy, but Steiner
points it out to him.
Yes.
points it out.
Thank you, Brian.
So Vince Russo
hangs his head.
No, he
hadn't thought about something.
He did the worst acting job I've...
He's a terrible actor.
Oh, my gosh.
But his own storyline
Yes.
is that he is the dumbest man on the planet.
Now, you should have saw this coming because, as we learned a few weeks ago, he's the writer.
I'm sure the storyline is that he's actually the most clever guy on the planet, but he's actually the dumbest guy on the planet, legit. So that's how his character turns out on this show.
It is mind-boggling. I have to work to process how stupid this show is.
You know what's funny, though, is this guy is a complete moron, and this company is going down the tubes, and they still can't fuck up Goldberg.
That is amazing.
True.
Goldberg faces Douglas. They do kind of fuck it up because, like, Douglas is getting heat on this guy.
Why did this match go more than 30
I'm
seconds?
like, come on. The Thrillers hit the ring right in front of the ref, which is not a DQ. Goldberg destroys every fucking one of them.
Yes.
He gives Reno the roll the dice, which is Reno's finish, but Goldberg does it better than anyone ever has ever, because it looks like a shoot. Mm-hmm. Kills Palumbo with your finish, Vinny. That's two finishes he's stolen. Then he presses Sanders above his head. Shane Douglas starts walking towards them. So he drops Sanders and spears Douglas at the same time. Yep. Hits the jackhammer. The place is fucking going out of their mind. For like 2 minutes, WCW is the hottest wrestling promotion on the planet again. Then it's all down the tubes. Goldberg was an incredible phenom.
It was a once-in-a-lifetime
incredible.
Yeah.
He's not just a big guy that never lost.
No,
he was a fucking incredible phenom.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys who don't lose for a long time, and they're not Goldberg. Tatanka didn't lose for years. He wasn't Goldberg.
Tatanka, Vinny, was not Goldberg.
No.
That is a factual statement.
Thank you.
Should write that down, too.
So Russo is backstage bemoaning his fate, asking, how do I get into these things? Because you booked the match, you moron. I don't care if that's Vinny Rue, the wrestling character, or Vince Russo, the Turner employee. You're a moron. Russo goes to apologize to Nash. Nash says, I have two agendas. One is to keep my belt. Two is to make sure you don't walk out of that cage. Just beat him up right now, Kevin. He's right there. You're big sexy. Destroy him. What are you waiting for?
Well, Vinny, what he's waiting for is the whole fucking show's a swerve.
The whole show is a swerve.
Finally, the best thing on the show.
A pool.
Major Guns is doing laps in the pool.
Major Guns in a swimsuit may have been the best thing on the show yet.
We didn't see her. She's swimming.
That's true.
She says, I don't want to be Canadian, but she keeps swimming.
Yep.
MIA is looking over the
MIA
wall.
is over a fence 1,000 yards away, but when they whisper, we can hear it all.
Pamela Paulshock is interviewing Lance. Lance is forcing her. Lance Storm is forcing someone to swim against their will.
Yes.
Pamela finally goes, I'm calling security. So Lance throws her into the pool. Yes.
I'm sure you can ask Lance about this. I think Lance wanted zero part of throwing a woman into a pool.
Of course not.
He touched her elbow when she jumps in.
Yes. Then the MIA runs in. They throw Elix into the pool. They throw Lance, who does a perfect front flip laid out into the pool.
It's amazing.
And then they brawl in a swimming pool.
Yeah.
They were all still faster than The Miz. It was incredible. I loved this segment.
At a pool.
It was fucking great.
Yes, the Misfits in Action beat up Team Canada 4-on-2.
And that's the end, by the way. We never find out if Major Guns is Canadian yet. I guess that's next week.
Well, she passed her swim test. Their flotation device helped a lot.
Vince Russo gives the Natural Born Thrillers a Tim Flower-style pep talk where he tries to fire them up by burying them and pointing out how bad they suck.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
Announces they have a gauntlet match against Vito. Pamela Paulshock, who is still wet. Like I said, there is some continuity in the show. That's an improvement.
Mm-hmm. So obviously, that was a pre-tape.
That's true.
Seriously, they had to do some thinking here.
They took the time to pour a glass of water on her head. She asks Arn Anderson if Ric Flair will be at David's wedding next week, and Arn takes a long time to say yes, he will be. Vito comes out for a promo, brags about giving Vince Russo a concussion. The Natural Born Thrillers comes out. Mike Sanders buries Dallas. Vito calls the Thrillers gay. Sanders calls Vito fat. He announces it's a gauntlet match, and then says, it's all 5 of us against you. There's 6 of them standing there. Vito accepts the match. So it is, in fact, Vito against all 6 Natural Born Thrillers. Takes way too long. All the Thrillers hit their moves, and Sanders, who did nothing the whole time, gets the pin. Then they beat up Vito with a stick for a while. Does it ever explain why Reno wrestles in, like, khaki shorts with a leather diaper over them?
What is that? What does that look?
I don't know.
Was there a video game character at the time?
That's a good guess. I don't know. Chronic, Sting, and Booker T pump each other up backstage.
Sting was great. Had the place going crazy.
Russo, Nash, and Steiner bicker backstage. Pam has the babyface team. She says, one of you will be world champion. Which is wrong then and was wrong now. And later. Booker T talks. He is boring. Chronic talks. He is boring. Sting is so awesome. In this crumbling company.
For no good reason. He knows what's going to happen in the main event.
He does? And
I think he was just happy he got to beat Vampiro and get over with so quick.
That could be it. Or he just enjoys being Sting. Not nearly as much as the Mountie enjoys being the Mountie.
He enjoyed being Sting in the 80s as much as the Mountie enjoyed being the Mountie.
That may be true. But he
less so in the 90s.
He had a ball being Sting in this segment here. He was great. So we have...
Okay, so it's War Games, they claim, in the Triple Cage. And they're explaining the rules are you got to get the bell, climb down, leave the cage to win. At one point, they explain that all of the men have to be in the cage before the match can end. But then, like 2 minutes later, Tony says Jarrett, Stinger, Steiner could win before Nash even gets in the cage. Nobody has any idea what's fucking going on.
No.
So Jarrett and Sting start, and they wrestle. And then in comes Scott Steiner with his face mask on, because Goldberg broke his face a few weeks ago.
They remember that later. When he comes out, they're like, what's that face mask he's got on? Because no one knows what's going on.
This fucking guy worked his ass off.
Yeah, he did.
With a broken face.
He did.
They double team Sting, and then Chronic is in next.
Before Chronic comes out, Steiner goes up to the middle cage, and you have to get out the door of the middle cage.
Right.
But the door's locked for some reason, so he has to get bolt cutters first, then cut the lock, and then open the door. Why?
I'm just glad the bolt cutters were up there.
They had 17 minutes to do this match.
Why was it locked?
I don't know.
So Chronic comes out.
Hey, at least they're doing the fucking order right this time. I will give them that.
By the way,
they didn't have babyface advantage the entire match.
Well, no, they didn't have. They had babyface. They had heels advantage 2-on-1, but then Chronic came out together, so it was babyface advantage 3-on-2.
I see.
By the way, the second cage has plunder in it. There's nightsticks. There's handcuffs attached to the cage. There's
it's a hardcore cage, Tony says.
Right.
So
the handcuffs come into play later.
Russo is I should add, Chronic and Steiner are in the middle cage, which is very small. Maybe 15 feet, probably less. And it looks unsecure.
No.
And these are 300... There's a half ton of men doing spots on this mesh. I'd have been terrified.
Mm-hmm.
I've been absolutely terrified working in this thing. Then they cut to a wide shot, and Sting and Jarrett are both just doing this.
Yeah, looking up. They don't give a shit.
No, they're just standing there. So Russo is number 5.
hockey outfit, helmet.
He comes out
and 2 heresies.
The heresies, who promptly climb up the outside of the cage.
Yeah, they just get involved.
To go in the middle cage and brawl with Chronic in the dark.
Yeah. Sting starts killing Russo, puts him in a scorpion deathlock for like 5 minutes, which Russo doesn't even sell once he gets out.
So, Nash comes out as number 6.
Okay, so Nash's gimmick is that he is a lazy man.
You noticed this too.
Who wants to defend the title every 29th day, and he does not want to wrestle tonight.
Right.
So, as coincidence would have it, you don't have to climb to the top and get the belt. Mm-hmm. You only have to walk out the door with the belt. So this fucking guy comes in, does a couple of spots, and then walks over and stands by the door.
Yep.
Because he's just going to wait for whoever gets the belt, and then when they try to go through the door, then he will beat them up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's his plan.
Genius.
He is actually the smartest man in this company. There's no doubt.
Well, now that's his gimmick.
Yeah.
Right.
That, again, Brian.
Genius.
He's the smartest man in the company. He, literally, this is all he did. He gets in the ring, Steiner's in the corner, and he goes to Steiner, and Sting hits a Stinger Splash on both of them. That's one physical encounter. Then Sting gets cut off, and Nash chokeslams him. That's 2 physical encounters. Mm-hmm. I don't think he did anything else the rest of this match.
No.
All he did was threaten to chokeslam people.
Yes.
He grabs Russo, and Jarrett and Steiner are begging him, no, don't chokeslam him. So he lets go of Russo, doesn't have to lift him. He grabs Steiner, and Jarrett says, no, don't chokeslam him. He lets go of Steiner, and he grabs Jarrett. He's not doing anything, mind you. He's just threatening.
And by the way, he's not actually the smartest guy in the company, because a lot of people have no respect for Kevin Nash because of how lazy he was. The actual smartest guy, and I don't know who it is, I'd have to pay very, very close attention, but it's whoever doesn't do anything but convinces you that they are. I'm going to have to find that person.
So Nash's gimmick is a guy who doesn't do anything, but you can tell.
Yeah, it's too patently obvious that he's lazy.
Booker T is number 7. Here, where Shivani's like, Kevin Nash has wrestled a very smart match.
I'll say.
Goldberg is number 8. Now, this was not the worst episode we've seen, because they still had a clue. Goldberg comes out, he grabs Russo, but then before he can do anything, Steiner and Jarrett attack, and he has to fight them up. So they are building to Goldberg doing something to Russo.
The best thing about this is 2 weeks ago, he crushed Steiner's orbital socket.
Oh, that's right. I remember that punch now.
Okay.
I remember that now.
So he gets back on offense. He hits the ropes. He throws a double clothesline. The side that Steiner was on, Goldberg hit him dead in the face with his arm.
You got to protect her on.
Gotta sink it in. So
Russo then grabs a bat and waffles Goldberg.
Yes.
And Goldberg has to sell it like he's been knocked out.
Well, it was a bat.
I was like, I can only imagine how much this fucking guy probably loved that. Yeah. Not Steiner hitting him with a bat.
No.
Not some giant wrestler. This skinny geek in a hockey helmet, a comedy character.
Yes.
Hits him with a fucking bat. He's got to sell it like he's dead.
So they handcuff Goldberg to the ropes. Everyone brawls up to the middle cage for this horrible brawl. Booker T is climbing up on top of the third cage. He's about to grab the belt, at which point Tony Schiavone says, the crowd is cheering. They think it's going to be over here.
Right. Because
nobody knows what's going on. The announcers are acknowledging nobody knows what's going on.
They've seen time after time a ladder match where the belt is hung from the rafters. You get the belt, you win.
Sting somehow gets handcuffed to the cage. No one has any idea when or how that happened. The belt ends up at the bottom cage. Russo is celebrating when out runs the cat. He runs into the triple cage. He kicks Russo in the head and then holds up the belt, and he celebrates. Nash powerbombs him. He's got the belt. Everyone thinks he's going to win. Here, Goldberg busts out of the handcuffs, makes the big Superman comeback, levels everyone. He poses with a belt like an arrogant jackass because everyone must be stupid. But then, right as he's about to leave, Bret Hart slams the cage door in his face.
Never saw that finish before in a cage match.
Yeah. And Russo ends up with the belt, and Nash is threatening him, but it's a swerve. and all the heels hug each other, and they're very careful so Nash can leave first, and he's still the world champion, and they all leave. So here's my question.
Same question I had last week.
What was their idea? What was the point of this? What was Big Sexy and Vinny Roo and the Chosen One and Big Papa Pump? What was the point of all this? To fool people?
Yes, that was the point. That was the point in storyline. They went to all of that trouble.
They paid for the cage. They flew the cage.
They got these geeks up at 4 a.m., these losers. They got them up there to build this fucking
cage.
And after all that, it was just to say, we fooled you.
I hate this show. I take it back. I'm mad now.
What a bunch of shitheads. I mean, as characters, what a bunch... Like, not even good heat.
No!
Like, this is the dumbest flock of shitheads I've ever seen in my entire life. All that trouble for this?
Is that what you call
all that trouble for that. I can't even imagine going to those lengths to just, I guess, fool the baby faces.
When the show is over...
You got beat up in this. Like,
you're hit with
people
weapons,
pounded on you.
You fell on steel. You climbed all the way up a cage and down twice.
Not only that, you risked the world title.
You put the world title at risk. Mm-hmm. And you put extra opponents in the match when the Chronic came in?
Keep in mind, early in the show when things went wrong and Russo, like, buried his head in his hands.
Yeah.
Realizing, you know what? I really am a dumb motherfucker. Because I came up with this stupid idea and I actually may lose the world title out of all of this.
And when it's all said and done, and the best case scenario unfolded, and in the end everything went as well as it possibly could have, they are exactly where they were when the show started. They accomplished nothing.
Their bump card has been clicked a few more times.
Rob's
Steiner got hit in the face.
Is a bigger accomplishment than anything the heels did on the show.
Oh, it's far more prestigious.
Yes. What a dumb show.
Yeah, they were running in place this week.
Our show here made Rob's belt far more prestigious.
We did.
Than TNT and TBS and Vince Russo and World Championship Wrestling and everything they've done for that fucking world title. Can you imagine? It's sad, is what it is.
It actually is.
Let's do this thing, Vinny. Hit my music.
The finishes on this show were pin after nutshot. We didn't even mention that. The Filthy Animals finish is a hit to the balls right in front of the ref.
That's what it was. It was a double leg drop to the genitals.
Right in front of the ref.
Which I did love because, like, Violent J, I can't get up from that. My balls.
Yeah, they're huge.
Pin in a handicap match after one guy missed his partner. Clean pin in a battle of brothers. Clean pin in a handicap match. Pin despite interference from a half dozen dudes. Clean pin in a half dozen dudes on one handicap match. And win via escape in a terribly convoluted triple cage match.
Oh, man, you were way too nice on that main event finish.
I'll say.
Well, the floor is yours, Brian.
Well, I mean, we've talked about it all. There was so much more to it than that.
I had nothing else to add.
Dude that swerved. Ah, fuck it, who cares? I can't even wrap my head around how stupid it was. Well, that's it, everybody. I need like a thing on the wall, a countdown.
When I changed the date on that show to September, started counting down like 6 months to go, man.
November, December,
we're
January,
almost
February,
there.
6 months. Yeah, but Russo's not around the whole time.
Right.
So we're almost done. Then it's like good for a while, then it dies.
Actually, I've been done with Russo
if I recall. All right, everybody, we're going to wrap it up for today.
We are at war.
Parker,
NXT.
It's fucking bizarre.
WCW Monday Nitro, also September 11th of the year 2000. It's David Flair's wedding to Stacy tonight.
Can't wait.
So earlier today, David arrives in a limo. He is greeted by Crowbar, who says, for all that happened between us, I just want to say I'm your friend and I wish you well. And Daphne, his ex-girlfriend, is there with her new boyfriend, Ozzy. They all say hi.
I was so mad. They just fucking introduced us to Reno. I just finally figured out who Reno is. Now they're calling him Ozzy. That's the guy, right? Isn't that the same guy?
No, not close to the same guy. Ozzy and Reno are not the same.
Who the fuck is Reno dating then? Remember he was dating somebody?
It was a Nitro girl.
Oh, was it?
One of the Nitro girls
so
who went home with
the fuck is Ozzy?
Daphne's boyfriend.
Oh,
He's a new
Jesus. Fuck this. He looked like Reno.
They did have the same haircut.
Yeah, two just weird dudes.
Like an emaciated Reno. So David asks if they have seen his dad, and they all say no.
Jarrett have a phone.
And Jarrett is watching from the locker room. He calls this outlandish vaudeville.
Well,
and says the band needs to play at this wedding. And he picks up his guitar. Which, come to think of it, led to nothing. Mm-mm. The Filthy Animals cut a promo. Disco Inferno says Chronic attacked him on Thunder.
So mad already.
So because Chronic attacked him on Thunder, he is getting Rey Mysterio Jr. and Juventud Guerrera to beat their fat asses. That's what he said.
He volunteered Rey and Juvi to face Chronic for the WCW World Tag Team Championship belts.
For Rey and Juvi's Tag Team Championship belts.
I see.
Yeah, he put their titles on the line.
Okay, yep. I got it.
Yeah. So
for some reason, I thought Chronic was the champs. I was trying to figure out why Rey and Juvi were so upset.
No, the story is he's an idiot.
I see.
And got his friends in trouble.
Got it.
So Conan's on commentary. Among what he said about Chronic, their strengths include A, they have good tans, B, they are tall, and C, they will not sell for little guys.
More or less.
He got yelled at for that one.
Yeah, he did.
So, say what you will say about Bryan Adams or Crush. He gave Ray Nelson the greatest, Rey Mysterio, the best full Nelson slam I ever saw.
I thought he was going to go through the ring.
It was so awesome. The Heresies attack Chronic. Disco hits one of them with a stunner. They throw him in. That's not enough.
It's Clark.
Clark gets it with a leg drop and a 450. He kicks out of that.
Yes.
And so finally, Rey Mysterio just jumps off the top rope, stomps on his balls, and pins him.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's his finish these days.
The combo nutcracker.
Yes.
This was all right.
It was fine.
The highlight was Conan.
As always. Stacy Keibler and her parents arrive. I can only imagine what they thought of this circus. We spend several minutes recapping last week's Triple Cage swerve, which is great because I was behind and I could fast forward like 3 minutes of this.
So they claim that Vince Russo has suffered his third concussion in 3 months. And they have this footage of this and that. And Mark Madden is joking that he underwent brain surgery and is barely alive.
Right.
Tony says we're going to have exclusive footage of the brain surgery. And then he says, and I quote, tonight, a wedding and brain surgery.
That is what he said.
Now, I bring this up because Russo had suffered at least one concussion. And he'd been having post-concussion syndrome. But he still went out last week and wore a helmet and did this match where he's taking bumps and getting kicked in the head.
Right.
So, I don't know if he actually suffered another concussion in that match. I would not be surprised. But he's not doing well. Now, and he's got more to come.
Didn't they do this whole thing as a dig on Bret Hart?
Well, they did, but he had actually suffered concussions. And he may have gotten another one when he got kicked in the head by the Shat last week.
So the Cat comes out for a promo about powers. He announces that Vince Russo is not there, and Russo's injunction was thrown out, so Cat is in charge again. For those of you keeping score of this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So Nash is going to defend his title against Booker T at the pay-per-view.
Yes.
Cat makes that a cage match.
To, quote, keep Vince Russo goon away. Is that like Suzuki goon?
It's not, but I'm glad you said it. So he makes Kevin Nash versus Booker T for the title of the pay-per-view a cage match. Then he announces that tonight, on this show, Nash is going to defend his title against Scott Steiner.
Yeah.
Shouldn't Booker be pissed off then?
Should be.
His title match is at risk now. Then Miss Jones.
Well, presumably he still faces the winner.
That was never said, and who the hell knows with this company? Miss Jones, who never speaks, cuts a promo on Jeff Jarrett, says, you like beating up ladies. Well, I'm going to, I believe she said, put her foot all up in his ass.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Chat wrote her promo.
This is the same woman who 2 weeks ago had a neck brace on because Jeff Jarrett El Kabonged her with a...
Well, that's why she wants revenge.
I guess so.
She wants to beat his ass in a match.
And what happened at the end? Well, we'll get to that in a second.
So Jarrett comes out, offers to fight Miss Jones handcuffed to prove men are superior to women. This leads to Kat and Jarrett having a brawl. And Steiner comes out. They beat up the Cat. They hit their moves. They leave him laying. They go to break. They come back. And Sting and Booker T have arrived.
I laughed so hard at this segment.
It was amazing.
They show up and they are over all of this. Mm-hmm. They don't care about anything.
Sting in particular.
Sting's just there.
You've never seen...
No makeup.
They, as much as they call 1980s Sting, they call him Surfer Sting. This was Surfer Sting. His hair is all shaggy, got his t-shirt and sunglasses on. He just wants to be at the beach somewhere. He's here to punch a clock and go home.
They announced that Shad got his ass kicked, and they're like, cool.
My notes here...
Hey, let's do something about it.
The Red Rooster stooges off the bad guys, say they beat up the Cat. Sting and Booker T, as I write here, they give zero shits.
Oh, it's nothing. True. Not one fuck is given in this segment right here.
Big Vito versus Reno in a stickball bat on a pole match.
Yes.
As this is going on, or the intros are being done or whatever, we are informed of the following things. Booker T is now going to be a special ref for the main event. Goldberg is going to be the special enforcer for the main event. And Mike Sanders has been suspended a week without pay for his actions at the power plant.
What?
I have no idea.
No one ever says what happened at the power plant. So they're doing this pole match.
Stickball on a pole.
Bat on a pole match. The ref gets bumped.
In a pole match.
Pole match. Vito gets the bat, gets beat up anyway. So good thing you got the fucking bat then.
Sure.
Johnny the Bull makes the save.
Johnny the Bull, you say?
But you'll never guess. It is a swerve. And he turns on his friend Vito.
The dumbest fan.
Was this really a swerve? Because who couldn't have seen this coming?
Like, the dumbest fan saw Johnny the Bull turning on Vito. And he did. No pop. No reaction.
Nothing.
I mean, none. No reaction whatsoever.
Right.
And Reno pins him in a pole match.
Pins him in a pole match with Johnny the Bull and Chuck Palumbo in the ring. Mm-hmm. After says, oh well, and he counts the 3.
You know, say what you want about Big Vito. He continually tries really hard.
He's the little engine that could.
Yes.
He did, in fact, get up after being pinned in this pole match. He jumped up and fought back.
Of course he did.
And then I believe the Thrillers came out and stomped him down anyway,
yes.
right?
Yeah. He's the complete opposite of Sting and Booker.
Yes.
Hey, speaking of...
You know, he really is.
Booker and Sting meet with Shad. Shad is very upset about being beat up. Shad says, we got to take the show back tonight or we're going to lose it forever. I'm like, we can only hope. And he says these words, and that's literally what Sting and Booker thought, because they're like, cool. Let's go take it back. Even I could not be.
Where were they at? Was weed legal then?
They were in Arizona.
There is no amount of weed that would have chilled out Sting and Booker T like they were chilled out in this segment. They were practically asleep.
Going back over this, I'm kind of surprised, based on how Sting was behaving at this point, that an hour later we saw him and he actually did put his makeup on. I can't believe he even bothered at this point. He should have just said, I'm Steve Borden, pro wrestler.
Threw some powder.
Real Estate Steve.
Real Estate Steve. So, yeah, that'll happen. Tori Wilson is warming up backstage. We are told she's going to wrestle Medusa.
Why?
Don't know. Jarrett and Steiner and Nash are laughing about beating up the Cat when the Cat storms in with a crowbar and Booker storms in. I think he's got a bat. And the bad guys are all scared. And that beating the Cat took accomplished nothing.
Nothing.
He's fine now.
Not only that, they beat him up. And Shat goes in there and he says, we're going to have some matches tonight. And if you guys don't do these matches, you're fired. I'm like, why don't you just fucking fire them?
I don't know.
You've got all the power now. They beat your ass. They broke a guitar over your girlfriend's head that you don't give a shit about. Like, just fire these fuckers.
If you're willing to fire them, just fire them now.
Yeah.
Pamela interviews Medusa, who explains...
Now, like, what is your big problem with her?
That was her question. Medusa, to answer your question, Greg, Medusa explained that she had been hired to train all the women wrestlers in WCW these days. That's what she said.
I know.
All the women wrestlers.
Which is basically all the women on the show at this point.
Say, are there any?
There's Major Guns.
No, there's a bunch of women that do matches.
Yes.
But there are no
They
women
don't
wrestlers on this
wrestle.
show.
That is true.
That's the problem, by the way.
Well, she says she's tired of training these women. They have no talent, she says.
Well,
she's going to show that little punk ass what it's like to be a woman in WCW and not just eye candy.
This was so bad.
especially when Tori came out in this little leather number, and you could tell that she was a woman.
Thank you, Greg.
Yeah.
Medusa versus Tori Wilson. We get clips from Thunder of Medusa laying out Tori and Shane Douglas.
Oh.
And like 10 seconds go by and Shane Douglas runs into the ring. It's not a DQ when he hits the ring. It's not a DQ when Medusa beats him up for a minute. But when Medusa misses a drop kick, now it's a DQ.
Yeah. She tried a drop kick. Shane moved. That was an offensive move. Had he not moved, it wouldn't have been a DQ.
It would not have.
But moving, allowing her to crash and be injured as a result of him, was a disqualification.
Shane, you deliberately dodged.
Well, hey, I mean, it was his fault she got hurt, so that's not the worst call I've ever seen, but it's up there.
Mm-hmm. So they beat her up. Shane threw a hell of a suplex on Medusa here. They put her in an STF, and Tori mocked her, and Kidman saves. And Medusa says, Kidman...
Well, Shane Douglas mocked her. He called her a bitch and Daryl told her to escape. He's got her in the STF. He goes, escape, bitch. I was like, what?
That is what
Let go of her, then.
He said. You're not calling spots, dude.
Dude.
He's mocking
We had
her.
that later. I wouldn't put it past his show.
Medusa wants the women to be in the scaffold match the men are having.
Oh, I'm sure she did in real life.
And then Shane and Tori accept. And all I can say is, if you like the word bitch, this is the segment for you.
Yeah, there was a lot of B words here.
And Medusa is still talking as they fade away.
This was Kidman's return from being hanged.
It was. They mentioned that.
Yeah, this is hanging comeback.
Crowbar is backstage helping David dress for his wedding. Tori Wilson is in her room getting dressed for her wedding. She's got the dress on. They're like doing Stacy, what did I say?
Mm-hmm. Tori.
It is his Tori. Stacy.
They're both lovely women.
They're fine-looking young ladies. Tori, I said it again. Stacy Keebler. Well, my notes read Tori, so that's why I keep making the same mistake. I'll fix my notes here.
Please.
On the fly. Good job.
I'm a professional.
I know.
Stacy Keebler is backstage getting ready for her wedding, as my notes here clearly say. And Jimmy Hart runs up out of nowhere. Jimmy Hart!
Where's he been?
When was the last time Jimmy Hart was on
it
Nitro?
Jimmy Hart? I thought it was just some random
No, it was James
courier.
Hart, the mouth of the South.
Apparently he's a courier now?
He runs up, he says, Stacy, I have a registered letter for you. She says, okay, thanks, and puts it on a shelf. He's about to leave, and he says, oh, and by the way, congratulations and good luck. And he leaves. Like, while I'm here,
Yeah.
if it's not too much trouble.
I mean, he wasn't invited to the wedding, so.
So he's bitter.
Yeah.
I see.
You know what? Possible.
Just telling you.
Completely believable.
Can he make it hired on as the band?
So another limousine arrives, and it parks. But before we can see who is in it, the Partridge Family bus drives up.
Yeah, that 70s guy.
And Mike Awesome actually is driving the bus.
So I wish Lance were still on the show so he could confirm or deny this, but I heard that he hated being that 70s guy.
I'm sure he did.
But why wouldn't you?
So none of these other shitty gimmicks he cared about? Like he was fine with the fat chick Thrilla? Like all of these other shitty... He's had like 10 shitty gimmicks in 10 weeks. This is the one that put him over the edge? He's wearing a cool suit and he's driving a fucking bus. Who gives a shit?
It's probably very hot.
He was driving
of
a
all
cool bus
fucking
and wearing
things.
a suit.
He didn't even have a bus driver. He just has a bus. We're to believe that he drives around the country.
Yeah. He's
no doubt
that
playing
70s
Casey
guy.
and the Sunshine Band.
He's like
there's
he's like
far
Deadheads.
worse things you could do in the middle of WCW in 2000
Well,
than drive around in that fucking bus and listen to Casey and the Sunshine
He's
Band.
like Deadheads, but following Seals and Croft.
So Steiner is pissed backstage about everything.
Of course he is.
And
So Nash says, listen, I'll touch you, you go down.
Excuse me.
I'll pin you.
he even outright says, we'll do the finger poke again.
Yeah. And Steiner has never even thought of something like this. Wait a second. I'll lay down and let you pin me?
Yes.
He's flabbergasted. Nash goes, yeah, you lay down, I'll pin you and win. Steiner's like, fuck. This whole business has changed. That's a segment.
I like when Steiner's pissed and Nash is trying to calm him down, and Steiner says, what are you doing there? They're sitting all calm like Jimmy Buffett.
Steiner on the show was out of his mind, as we'll learn later.
He gives zero fucks, but in a different way than Sting.
Right? Yes.
Jeff Jarrett versus Miss Jones. So Jarrett comes out, does a misogynistic promo. The Cat comes out to make sure the cuffs get put on. They handcuff Jarrett's hands together in front of him.
Yes.
Which is barely handcuffed.
Right.
But then he's handcuffed, and the Cat sucker punches him.
Well, the good news is that the heel was the dumb shit, as opposed to the babyface. The bad news is he came off as a babyface. Because the babyface was a heel.
I'm not even sure which guy you're talking about here at any point.
This is so fucking dumb.
So, Cat sucker punches Jarrett. Miss Jones says, no, I'll take care of this. You go leave. They're doing some stuff.
Another idiot.
They're doing some stuff. Tony brings back the rail of pain.
Yeah.
Because Tony's grasping at straws, anything he can do to make himself laugh. Miss Jones, at one point, nutshots the ref. And as God is my witness, I don't know if it was supposed to be an accident or not.
I don't know why.
So then she turns and nutshots Jarrett, which is so effective. He grabs his guitar, he El Kabongs her, and he wins.
These fans went batshit crazy for him hitting over the head with his guitar. You know the birth rate has plummeted since 99? No surprise watching this show. Fat Chick Thrilla makes a save.
Yeah.
So Jarrett was doing all the populating? What do you mean?
No.
Clearly there were a lot of men who hated women.
I see.
And are not having sex.
Yes. And that is a statistical, factual statement. A lot of these men in this era did not have sex and have children. Right. Period.
The dumb thing is, okay, it's all dumb, but Mrs. Jones was wearing a neck brace because she got El Kabonged by Jeff Jarrett, and now we're back to square one.
Yeah, she wanted her revenge, and it backfired. Because she's dumb.
Yeah, okay.
So Nash is still trying to explain this whole finger poke thing to Steiner.
Okay, there was actually a really good thing here.
A lot of good things here.
Nash is drawing on a whiteboard.
Yes.
He draws a stick figure of himself, draws a stick figure of Steiner laying down, points that, I'll get on top of you, and then he starts drawing the belt on himself. And Steiner's watching all of this intently, and then he goes, why don't you lay down? Nash goes, I'm the champ. Steiner thinks for a while, and then he goes, you don't think I could beat your ass? And it's so awesome, because his question is, you don't think I can beat your ass? And Nash's response is not, well, of course I can beat your ass. Nash pauses for a split second, and then just tries to change the subject. Howled. Because he knows I can't beat your ass. Right. That's why I'm asking you to lay the fuck down so I can just pin you.
This was a great segment because it's like we were talking about with the sheep herders. Scott Steiner's out of his mind crazy. You can't imagine him not being Scott Steiner all the time. And this skit is basically trying to be Scott Steiner in a normal environment. Because Kevin Nash is relatable. You can see yourself hanging out with Kevin Nash. But Scott Steiner's a madman. And this is the contrast of personalities, among other things, made this great. It was funny. It all made sense. This was a good segment.
Okay, so this is also weird because Steiner says, I'm going to go talk to Jeff. He storms off. So they go to commercial, they come back, and apparently they've had their talk because Jeff now walks in. And he's saying, dude, Nash, we got to get this thing handled, blah, blah, blah. And Nash goes, listen, dude's laying down for me. So you go tell that to your retarded friend.
Yeah.
And Jarrett's on his way out as Nash says retarded friend. And Jarrett stops in his tracks.
Record scratch.
And he turns, looks at him and goes, retarded? And then he walks out the door.
Yeah.
He was totally taken aback by Kevin Nash using the term retarded. That was too much for this heel Jeff Jarrett. He'll beat up these women.
He's been hitting women every week.
He'll break guitars over their heads, but man, that is unacceptable to Jeff Jarrett.
Hacksaw Duggan comes out.
We need a Hall of Awesome music.
He got a promo on cancer and how he beat it, but now he's realized no man can beat Father Time.
He says, I won this battle 2 years ago. I've got to thank the Lord Almighty, my friends, my family, the great fans. I beat it thanks to you guys, and I came back to this business that I love. People are going crazy. They got shots of people crying. Mm-hmm. I'm like, look at this fucking guy. He's so great. He's talking about Father Time. 20 years in this business, I feel like it's passing me by. Now, the bad thing is, he was so good doing this speech, but because it's WCW and everything is a fucking swerve, not one single solitary person believed that he was actually going to retire. Mm-hmm. That part sucked.
Yeah. So he's not afraid to step aside and let the great young talent make a future for themselves. And he's cutting this fiery promo. And he's defiant. He's fiery, like I said, but he's also sad. He's retiring. A little misty-eyed. Voice is cracking.
Over 20 years, the only two things I ever carried were this 2x4 and the flag of the United States of America.
Yes.
I need someone to carry this torch, carry this flag, someone young, someone strong, someone tough who loves this country as much as I do.
And after this speech,
who is this?
Everyone's going so crazy for this. Hacksaw Duggan has to name as the next champion of America.
Passing the torch.
He has to say, with a straight face, mind you, General Erection.
Huge erection.
Yeah.
Please come out here and wave this flag.
Yes.
What?
A flagpole. So they come out, and Erection takes the flag, and they salute each other, and they shake hands. At this point, Lance Storm and Major Guns interrupt. Major Guns, much hotter as a Canadian.
Thank you.
So
very true.
Lance says General Erection has a title match for the Canadian title at Fall Brawl, but he's also willing to beat him up right now. So we do this match. You mentioned earlier about how Lance is no longer doing a show here. I want to have Lance on a show to ask him, how are you alive?
Yes.
After you jumped into midair and General Erection caught you in a powerbomb, I think drove you harder into the mat than you were going just on gravity, and your head bounced off the mat and folded all the way forward into your sternum and then folded back. It was so brutal.
This is worse than what Chronic did to Ray earlier.
Yes, this was worse. I know he's talked about, I think it was awesome. I think it was awesome. Somebody gave him a top rope powerbomb and they just had no table.
That sounds like awesome.
So they just did the top rope powerbomb anyway. This looked worse than that. So eventually he does survive. He gets the maple leaf, but Duggan is there to point out that Hugh G. Erection's arm is under the ropes. So Lance punches Duggan. Duggan responds by hitting Lance with his 2x4, and Lance was flying through the air, and Erection catches him with a power slam for the win.
Bet must be over.
Then Duggan celebrates with huge erection afterwards.
Excuse me?
I can't believe it. I hate this show.
Stacy is hanging out alone by herself with no friends in her locker room, just like any other bride-to-be.
Sure, yeah.
And she says, I guess I'll open this registered letter now. Got nothing else to do. And she gets some distressing news. So, the David Flair Stacy Keibler wedding. Everyone comes out, but then before the ceremony can start, David must speak. He says, in the past months, I have let down my friends, I have let down my family, and I have let down one man in particular. And they're in Charlotte, and everyone starts going woo. And David says, Arn Anderson, come on out. So Arn comes out. Now Arn's got to talk. Mm-hmm. Arn, apparently thinking he's at the bachelor party and not the actual wedding ceremony.
Right.
He gives David advice for his wedding, which is, when your buddies call you to go to frat parties or strip clubs or fishing trips, it's easier to beg forgiveness than permission. Now,
it's true.
Thank you, Craig. I am guessing that of those three, you get a lot less trouble for the fishing trip.
Sure.
This seems like an unfair comparison.
Unless it's on her birthday.
Oh, that's fair. Rule number 2, Arn says, you're going to get a lot of cash for your wedding gifts.
Mm-hmm. What in the fuck is this guy talking about? This fucking advice, it was like, this actually reminded me of a real wedding where you gotta have the crazy fucking guy who decides he's gonna do some comedy, but like it's not funny and nobody's laughing, and he just digs himself deeper into this fucking hole. That's what this was right here.
So hide that cash, he says. And then number 3, when you come home late and you get in a fight, she's going to lie and say everything's okay when you go lay down.
Things are going to get heated, he says. Maybe even domestic.
Well, he did say that. I don't even know what that meant.
What do you mean you don't know what that means?
I don't want to acknowledge what it meant.
Okay.
So he advises David at this point to grab the cash and leave. That's Arn's speech for the wedding. And then David Flair, after all this time, does the flattest, worst job of teasing and building to the announcement of Ric Flair. Flair has not been seen since David turned on and broke the 47th statue over his head and they shaved him bald. This is his big return. And David's like, thank you, Arn. And now Ric Flair. So Flair comes out. He's got the spiky haircut.
Looks good.
I disagree.
This is the first time that we saw Ric Flair since he got his fucking head shaved. Mm-hmm. For decades, people wanted to do an angle where they shaved Ric's head.
Yeah.
Finally, Vince Russo talks this guy into an angle where he shaves Ric's head. We never see Ric bald.
No.
After he gets shaved. He goes home and he comes back with a full head of hair.
Yes.
Dude.
Nitro.
Mm-hmm. Fuck.
I do think it's funny that he got this haircut, which I thought was horrible, until the day Nitro died. He didn't go back along until he was on Raw. So Flair now has to get a promo to interrupt this wedding. Can you imagine the father of the groom interrupting a wedding for a promo? This is bad times. So it talks about how he and his family have put everything back together, they put their life back together, and finally they start this goddamn ceremony. But here come the cops. Borat says, I've got to investigate. He leaves the announce desk to interview. So the cops explain Vince Russo had a restraining order placed against Flair where he is not allowed to come within 100 yards of the building.
Yeah.
Russo's not there.
Yeah.
It's the building.
Yeah, this is
the
stupid.
brick and mortar.
Yeah,
you can't approach.
That makes absolutely zero sense.
So they arrest him and they take him to the back, and Stacy is so distressed that she follows him as well. After the break, Flair is loaded into a cop car. Arn promises him he will take care of David. We get B-roll footage of Vince Russo getting a series of concussions.
Stacy runs backstage. Did she run after Flair, or did she just flee the wedding? We don't know.
Don't know. So we have clips of Russo's alleged brain surgery.
We got like 15 minutes here, so let's get moving.
The doctor talks about he had emergency surgery to heal a blood clot in his brain. He'll be out 2 to 5 months and deal with nausea and visual obscurity. And just in case any of you were thought this may be legit, Tony Schiavone says, I'm not buying this.
No, of course not. He's back like next week or whatever.
Sting comes out. The heresies come out. I had no idea what was happening, but apparently it's a handicap match. A no DQ handicap match where they're beating Sting up with chains.
Well, there's 3 teams in there or whatever the fuck this was. They're just doing this 3-on-1. There's chains, whatever. And like 5 minutes in the match, Tony Schiavone just calmly says, I guess this is no disqualification.
Yes. Yeah.
Somewhere in here, Sting pins a Harris. I have no idea what was happening in this segment. I have zero idea what was happening in this segment. I don't know why it aired on television. I don't know what the point was. I don't know what the rules were. I don't know what. I don't get it.
Well,
baffled.
I can add that Chronic helped Sting win, but I can add nothing else. Steiner and Jarrett yell at each other, and Steiner says, bullshit. David goes to Stacy and says, everything's set up. Let's get married again.
She says, no, everything's gone wrong. Let's just do this on a different day. We'll start over again. He's begging her, I love you. Let's do this now. He drags her to the ring for their wedding.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to go.
No.
I'm like, hell of a wedding you're doing right here.
Chivalry. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
chivalry.
The wedding starts again, and the preacher gets to the line about if anyone wishes to object, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Yeah, can we add one thing, even though we only got 15 minutes left? This guy starts doing the whole wedding speech. he's going on and on about faith, and this is a journey, and the crowd is absolutely dead. I'm like, do we really need to spend 5 minutes on this fucking thing before we get to the point of, if anybody has anything, speak now or forever hold your peace?
And everyone just turns and looks to the back. I laughed my ass off.
Stacy looked to the back. She was the first person to look for the back.
Stacy was hoping someone would interrupt and save her from having to do it. So she raises her hand, cuts a promo. There's a mic there on the stand, but she's standing straight up, so they can barely hear her. She reveals the news that she's pregnant, but David is not the father. And David is shocked, and he turns to look at Arn, and Arn says, "It's not me."
Dude.
I laughed.
Anybody here ever taken a paternity test?
No.
I'm looking at you, Rob. Okay, I haven't, but how do you determine that David is not the father if David is unaware that you did a paternity test?
You would have to get his DNA somehow.
So how in the world? He's baffled.
I can only imagine.
He does not know what's going on. I was like, this storyline doesn't make any sense. She knows David's not the father, but David has no idea that she got a paternity test done.
Well, Brian, maybe she got the DNA from the guy who is the father, and they checked that, and it matched.
I see. Well, we'll find out.
Find out.
Because the mystery is, who's the father?
So she's distressed, and she storms out of the ring, and they shoot this. She's coming down the steps. The camera's on the floor looking up, and behind her you see thousands and thousands of empty seats.
Yeah.
Okay. The following happens in one uninterrupted camera shot.
I just love the first part of it, which is Mike Awesome is dragging Pamela.
That's not the fourth thing.
No, what are you talking about?
In one shot, Brian, Stacy storms out, gets into a limo, and drives away.
Well, yeah, but
David walks up, screams, "Stacy!" And he turns and he leaves. Then Mike Awesome shows up.
Mike Awesome is dragging Pamela to his love bus.
Yes. Well, he's escorting. He's not dragging her.
Well, not dragging her, but
she's willing.
He's going to show her his bus.
I'm sure he is.
Where he drives around the country and makes love. He's like, "Come on, baby, let me show you the inside of this bus." I was like, what?
Drives around the country and makes love.
That's what this is.
Where do you get this job?
Why is this a matter of such hilarity? That's what this was.
So, I don't think never mind. It doesn't matter.
So before he say it,
there's
before he can make love to Pamela, Jared attacks, ruining his night. Then the natural...
What else was going to happen? He was like, let's do the interview in front of my bus. That's what was going to happen. He was like, hey, let's do the interview on the bus. I don't want to do it in the arena. No, he was taking her there because he was going to drive around the country and make love to her. It's a love bus.
Uh-huh.
Clearly.
Well, before he can make love to her, Jared attacks, then the Thrillers attack, and then they all say, they've got him beaten. It's like 9-on-1 or whatever. And then somebody says, hey, let's put him on top of the bus. What? And they drag him around in a face of black, and we never saw him again. I don't know what happened to Mike Awesome.
He was on the
this.
bus.
Apparently.
Not making love.
We saw the bus, and there was no Mike Awesome there.
There's a
It's a plot hole, Brian.
Sure. The whole show's a plot hole.
Maybe it's got one of those.
There's one giant plot hole with Nitro in it. So what this is.
You were thinking the bus is going to have like a loft, is what you were thinking, right, Brian?
Did you add in when Tony asked, and I quote, "Is this a trap?"
I did not catch that.
That was my favorite part. They fucking jump the guy, and as he's on the way to the love bus, they beat the shit out of him. They go to put him on the bus, and Tony goes, "Is this a trap?" No, Tony.
Mean Gene interviews Steiner, who says he lays down for nobody. Whether he leaves this building as champion or not, he will get even with Goldberg for fracturing his face. That's what he said. He begins to talk, not in these exact words, but he explains how big his dick is, as Gene Okerlund nods knowingly.
I wish I could have had the time to go back and transcribe this promo, but it wouldn't have mattered because I could not come close to being as marble-mouthed as Steiner was when he attempted to cut this promo. Talking about the fucking moon
sort
and
of the
sun,
Big Dipper and sex, and
his
he vows
Big Dipper,
to be Goldberg
and he's going to do a go-behind.
Mm-hmm.
And
do the pumpkin grind.
Finally, at the very end, he says, "I'm going to beat you, Goldberg, in 6 days at Fall Brawl." This is a go-home show?
Yes.
Yeah, this is a go-home show for Fall Brawl.
Holy Christ. Kevin Nash versus Scott Steiner with Booker T as ref and Goldberg as special enforcer. Mm-hmm. Booker vows he's going to get his title back at Fall Brawl, which I assumed meant he was going to screw Steiner and make sure Nash won. So...
Kind of did.
Steiner refuses to lay down, so Nash goes to leave. Steiner grabs him. They have their fight. And Nash gets slammed or something. I don't even know what. Somehow he ended up on the mat. Scott Steiner drops an elbow on Kevin Nash. Booker counts 1, 2, holds up his count, and checks Nash's shoulders. Nash is not kicked out. So am I supposed to believe that Nash, A, decided to lay down for Steiner, or B, was pinned after an elbow drop? What was I supposed to believe here? I don't know. So, eventually, the heels just say, fuck this. They both attack the ref. They start beating up Booker. They're beating him and beating him and beating him. And another ref runs in and tries to get him to stop. And they're beating him. Like, where the fuck is Goldberg? I saw him in a chair 3 feet from the ring a minute ago. Finally, he shows up. Everyone's brawling everywhere for a long-ass time. It's a 2-on-2 fight with 2 baby faces and 2 heels. The heels are winning on them until Cat makes the save, making it an unfair fight. Somewhere in this mess... Well, okay, I guess this must have what happened. Mm-hmm. Goldberg got very, very angry with someone in the crowd.
Yes.
Yes, some fan did something, and Goldberg first demanded the fan come at him.
Yes.
Like he invited him over the barricade.
Yes, and the crowd parted like the Red Sea.
There was a woman in the crowd. She was wide-eyed and terrified.
This man did not come to face Goldberg.
That sucks.
So Goldberg demanded that they throw... He said something very, very nasty.
Yes. Dropped an F-bomb.
Yes, throw that fucking guy out or something like that. Mm. But yeah, the fans, that was something.
So this whole thing, by this point, we're like 10 minutes into the segment, and here my notes read, here's a fucking bus.
Yeah.
Which is like a love bus.
Sure.
So the Thrillers are driving the bus now. They jump out and attack everybody. There's bats, there's pipes, there's chairs. Booker gets powerbombed. It's barely shown on TV because they're showing the fucking bus. They throw Booker through the windshield of the bus.
Kinda.
They handcuff Goldberg to the front of the bus. Jarrett starts the bus. He's going to run Bill Goldberg over on live TV, but Goldberg breaks free by breaking the grill of the bus. It fades to black. That is the go-home show for Fall Brawl. And here I simply wrote, what shit?
You know, this is one of those things that you don't think about until you think about it, but Russo is so stupid. It was a total WWE thing for Jarrett to drive the bus down the aisle.
Sure.
But, like, there was a reason Steve Austin drove the fucking beer truck down the aisle.
Right.
Because he was a crazy fucking guy that hijacked a beer truck, and he's gonna, like, fucking drive it like a crazy person through the backstage area and through the curtain, break the Titantron, go down the aisle, and just cause havoc. Because he's Steve Austin, okay? We're supposed to believe that instead of Jeff Jarrett just getting the Thrillers and having them run down to the ring and interfere in the main event, instead he decided it would be better to go beat up Mike Awesome, hijack the guy's bus, put the Thrillers in the bus, drive the bus through the backstage area, and then drive the bus down to the ring for them to run in.
Yes.
Why would anyone do this?
I don't know.
So yeah, they tried to run over Bill, he fought free, and that was your go-home angle for Fall Brawl, coming up on Sunday. So there you go, everybody. Would you like to play your music, Vinny?
Let's wrap this up.
Here you go.
The finishes on this show were pin after flying shot to the nuts, pin in a stickball bat on a pole match, pin in a stickball bat in a pole match after interference by 2 men, DQ in a women's match when a guy ran in and got beat up, handcuffed man pins a woman after hitting her with a guitar, pin after a retired guy hit a Canadian with a 2x4, no finish in a wedding when a father of the groom is arrested, pin in a handicap match after 2 men interfere and everyone uses chains, no finish in a wedding when the bride has a crisis of honesty, and no finish in the main event because the special referee and the special enforcer are both beaten like complete geeks.
I actually think Raw was worse.
A crisis of honesty?
She could no longer keep a secret that David was not their father.
Crisis of honesty.
I've never had one of those crises.
Raw was definitely worse finishes. Can you believe that?
The worst parts on Raw were worse than the worst parts on Nitro.
Yeah. So this Nitro.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to open up with a spoiler, everybody. Next week on the show, Vince Russo becomes the WCW World Heavyweight Champion.
Brian.
Now, there's a reason I'm bringing this up. Mm-hmm. Because if you have been watching this show, which we have, there is one long-term storyline that they have logically stuck with. And it's the build to Vince Russo becoming the WCW World Heavyweight Champion. Can you imagine? I watched this show. Nothing makes sense. They've been building this up forever with Goldberg and Russo and the first Triple Cage match and this show. And then, if you remember the finish, Goldberg kills Vince Russo by spearing him through the side of the cage. Yep. So Goldberg finally, after all of these weeks, gets his hands on the guy, but it leads to Russo getting the belt. The one storyline that he writes that goes weeks and like everything ties together is all about getting himself over.
Are you telling me Vince Russo can actually write when he wants to?
Barely. But like the one thing, it's all about himself. It's infuriating.
Well, I see your point, and it very much is, but I would counter by saying we have watched this show. And Vince Russo's been on this show for coming up on a year now, most of it. He's on TV, despite his claim he didn't want to be on TV. He's on TV all the goddamn time.
Well, yeah.
And he's helped his friends win the title. He's helped Nash win the title. He's tried to get the title off Booker. He did all of the Brett and Jarrett and Christ knows what else. At no point, prior to this episode we're about to review, at no point did Vince Russo drop the slightest hint that he ever wanted to be world champion.
Well, it's a private matter, Vinny.
He never, handed the belt to anyone and, held on a little bit more. Never cut a promo just staring at the belt. No. Never. So it came on. I realize you're right, Brian. There is a long-term storyline in place here. But it feels like something they made up tonight and paid off with next week.
Well, it's because he sucks at his job.
He sucks so hard at his job.
Yes. Now, it is... Here's my booking of Vince Russo's booking. You ready for this? Vince Russo always wanted to be the world champion, but he never thought he had a chance. Until September of 2000, when the title had changed hands. You ready for this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 20 times that year.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not talking in a year. I'm talking from January to September.
8.5 months.
There were 20 world title changes. And surely Vince Russo looked at this and thought, I could get this belt.
Now, I don't know if you have it in front of you, if you can quickly count. On top of that, how many times was the title vacant? It's 3 or 4.
Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times. And it's about to be vacated again.
In 8.5 months.
And
did you know this company went out of business?
I hate to say this, okay? But, it's just a factual statement. And we are jumping ahead a week again. You do realize that if you watch this show, Vince Russo is a better and more credible champion than David Arquette.
I guess.
These are sad facts.
There's more heat on him.
Yes.
I look back, I was thinking about this on the drive over, what a horrible year this has been.
Oh, it's been hideous.
When people talk about the David Arquette title reign as a black mark in the history of WCW, dude, not even close to rock bottom. There's so much they did worse than David Arquette as champion.
Oh, yes, much worse.
So this here episode of WCW Monday Nitro, September 18th of the year 2000, if I have not said that, we have clips from Fall Brawl, a notorious match. So the Natural Born Thrillers teamed with their trainer from the power plant, Paul Orndorff, against the Filthy Animals in an elimination tag match.
Yeah.
And
it's classic.
In the middle of this elimination tag match, Paul Orndorff, who had been retired in the first place due to a history of bad neck issues, an atrophied arm due to nerve damage, he gets a stinger, which I never had, but I've talked to a lot of guys who had one. They're not very damaging, but they're very, very painful. And so this guy...
Well, they're painful, and he lost feeling in his arm.
Lost feeling in his arm. And he came into the match with a history of neck problems. I'm sure he was terrified. So he gets this stinger, and he goes down, and he doesn't move. The other 9, 10, 12 wrestlers, whatever it is, they just keep doing a match around his limp body. It was shocking then. It would be shocking now. It's amazing. Now, the point of all this is, eventually, this elimination match was just thrown out.
Yeah.
And so they're going to pick up where it left off for Nitro.
They're not starting the match over the next night.
No.
If you were eliminated last night, you're still eliminated.
The match was not canceled. It was suspended.
I was dying.
Somebody took a timeout.
Yeah. There was a rain out, and it finished the next night. So here is the match we got to open Nitro. I swear to God. In an elimination tag match, Rey Mysterio Jr. and his partner, Tigress, versus Mark Jindrak and Chuck Palumbo and Mike Sanders and Sean O'Hare and apparently also Sean Stasiak, who started the match on commentary and then at one point just started wrestling. So here's the thing about this. I decided almost instantly that it's just Nitro. It's just this stupid-ass elimination tag match. I'm not going to watch this as a wrestling match. I'm going to watch this as gymnastics and acrobatics and whatever power moves, just an athletic display.
Don't even tell me you were able to.
Rey Mysterio and the Thrillers did some cool stuff. There were cool moves in this match. It went 4 minutes. There was, 19 pins.
Let me go through them.
All right.
It is Rey and Tigress against 5 enormous men.
Yeah.
O'Hare powerbombs Rey. Think about this. He powerbombed Rey, and he went for the senton, but he accidentally hit Jindrak.
Right.
Yeah. Jindrak was holding Rey's feet, but Rey did a reverse crunch, and yanked the 6'9", 260-pound Jindrak forward into the way of the senton.
Yes.
This defies laws of physics.
It does.
So
that's why I didn't pay attention to those.
Rey and Tigress then pinned O'Hare and Jindrak. And to their credit, the place went crazy. Tigress. Rey and Tigress pinned Jindrak and O'Hare. So then Rey goes up top. Stasiak, who was doing commentary, crotches him right in front of the referee, which is not a DQ. Kiwi hits Stasiak with a chair. Tigress pins Stasiak. And Palumbo pinned Rey. So basically, Tigress is the last one left. She rolls up Palumbo for the pin.
That happened.
There's no interference.
No.
Nobody was hit by a weapon. She rolled up Palumbo and pinned him.
She out-wrestled him.
It is now Tigress versus Sanders. Rey, who was eliminated, drop kicks Sanders. She gives him the X Factor and sits on his face for the pin.
Fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are all facts.
Yes.
Listen to me. This has very little to do with the fact that Tigress is a woman. But she's 90 pounds, and she's untrained.
Yeah. Yes.
Forget that she's a woman. She's a 90-pound untrained person who just ran roughshod through all of these thrillers.
Fact.
I could not believe my eyes. They buried... And then, I'm not the biggest fan of Kevin Nash.
What?
But he was amazing on this show. Kevin Nash is watching backstage, and he's sitting on this box. The bell rings, and he is disgusted. And he turns to whoever it was, and he says, "Do these thrillers need a coach or what? Brutal. Brutal." And he walks off. I'm like, he is not wrong.
No.
And it only got better. Nash meets with the thrillers afterwards. And first off, Jindrak says something, we don't even hear what he says. We never found out. But Nash says, if you say that again, you'll be SOL. And we all know what that means. So then he's got a chalkboard. And he starts giving them coaching tips. He starts drawing this diagram. Show them what you're made of is his plan. And he says, you're going to be here, Jindrak, and you're going to go here, O'Hare, and you're going to go this way, Palumbo. And essentially he connects all the dots and it says, you suck. And then he walks off. Mm-hmm. And they're like, what? And I'm like, you do suck. He's right. You guys suck. Kevin Nash is correct.
He walks off. And it says, you suck in giant letters on the board.
Yes.
And it cuts to the Thrillers. And they're staring at it.
Yeah.
And like,
it takes
there's a pregnant pause. There's like 4 seconds. One of them says, you suck.
Wait a minute.
Like, it took them that long to read.
Yeah.
Because they suck.
So at Fall Brawl, first Booker T beats Kevin Nash in a cage match to regain the title. And then the real main event of the show is Goldberg versus Steiner, which apparently is an amazing fight, I've been told. And then we are told they don't say who won. They simply say Steiner got his hand raised. All right. So it appears we're getting a Goldberg promo, but no, it's Vince Russo doing Goldberg's entrance. And they try to get you to buy the Fall Brawl replay by saying Goldberg has never lost this decisively before. Yes, buy the pay-per-view to see Goldberg lose. So Russo shows himself with a foot on Goldberg's chest. Claims to have a registered letter from Goldberg.
Okay, I want to apologize to everybody in advance, but I wrote the entire letter word for word.
What?
And there is a
The floor is
reason.
yours.
There is a reason that I am going to read this, okay? Because we're live on national television, and we got 2 hours. And all he needs to do is read a short registered letter from Goldberg. So he starts reading. Dear Mr. Russo, Your Honor, Sir. After getting my ass handed to me last night at Fall Brawl by Scott Steiner, I came to the conclusion that I am no longer worthy of working for WCW, or more specifically, working for an icon like you, Vince Russo. The truth is, time and time again, you have given me a chance to make a name for myself, and time again, I have failed, not only you, but also the fans. I, Bill Goldberg, am a total disgrace. I am not worthy. I am a loser. Therefore, at this point, I find no other choice than to formally resign from WCW. As far as the kids go, I am no hero. Never was, never will be. If those kids if they truly want someone to look up to for guidance, for leadership, for love, then they should be looking up to you, Vince Russo. Because the fact is, I will never, and I do mean never, be half the man you are. P.S. Mr. Russo, you are my God. Respectfully yours. I was like, dude, I got it.
Okay.
How the fuck long are you going to read this goddamn letter? I have been trying so hard not to swear on this show, but I've given up now. This fucking letter just went on and on and on and on and on and on. It was like the Firefly fucking on Funhouse video at the end of Raw, where they played it, and hey, it's upside down, it's backwards, it's a funny color. I got it. Oh, it's upside down, it's backwards, it's a funny color. Hey, I got it. Oh, it's still going for 2 fucking minutes. Dude, I got it.
Well,
Jesus, I've read fucking Bible chapters that were shorter than that.
I don't think you have.
Positive.
read them again. Closer this time. Well, Brian, we can add poor delivery to reasons to hate Vince Russo, because I watched him deliver this exact same promo, and I didn't even care.
God.
It just rolled off me.
Damn.
I just did something else while he was talking. So when he's done reading his long registered letter,
an hour later,
he brings out Scott Steiner. Steiner brags about beating Goldberg, but then apologizes for making him resign. He never meant to do that. But then a funny thing happens.
What a nice guy.
Now, I'm guessing it's because they were in Canada and Canadians love Bret Hart. Yes. I think by now the word was out that Bret was retired after Goldberg kicked him in the head. There is a very, very loud Goldberg sucks chant.
Yep.
It's not a vocal minority. It's the vast majority of these fans.
No, and they're cheering for Steiner when he says he's going to win the title.
Yes. So Steiner begins to talk about a title shot. Then he calls out Sting. Russo says, "What are you talking about?" Jarrett comes out. Okay, serious question. In storyline, why do Russo and his gang hang out together? All they ever do is fight with each other.
Because they're just all bad guys.
And it's always the same fight. It's who's in charge or who's going to benefit this week. It's the same damn show. So...
Is Jeff the worst chosen one in history?
Yes.
He's getting no chances.
They choose him. He's a preliminary chosen one.
He has to come out and point out every week that he is the chosen one because everybody's forgotten.
He's the chosen low man on the totem pole.
Yes.
So eventually Nash comes out. Everyone says they want a title shot. And here is the point where Russo says, I'm going to make... Now, I didn't find out what he actually booked here until like halfway through the show. So I'll tell you what he booked here. But understand, at the time he said it, I was completely baffled and bewildered. He books Jarrett and Steiner as a team in a tag team match against himself and Kevin Nash.
Yes.
All their friends are not going to have a fight. And whoever wins the fall gets a title shot against Booker T next week in Vince Russo's hometown of Long Island. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's what he eventually booked. When this segment was done, I thought he had booked 2 separate matches with Jarrett and Steiner as one team and him and Nash as the other, fighting other people.
Gotcha.
I had no idea what he was talking about with the title at stake. I had zero concept.
I hate to defend Vince Russo, but I've got my notes right here, and I figured out what he was talking about.
Okay. Maybe it's me.
I think it was you.
It may have been me. So, here was the point where Russo says it's been his dream since he was a little boy to be WCW World Champion.
Very skeptical of that, by the way.
Is he 18 years old? So, he declares all this is over. He's going to team with Nash. He's going to be world champion. The other guys are all outraged. As Russo's leaving, Steiner grabs a mic and starts screaming, "My Johnson's bigger than your arms!"
That's Scott Steiner.
So, if I had watched this segment on Nitro and reviewed it here in this retro show like 2 months ago, I would have absolutely lost my mind. But now it's fall. I've been watching this all summer. Who cares? It's just another bullshit, illogical, nonsensical Nitro promo. Even Trainwreck TV gets old. That's my point.
And not that it matters or anything, but Medeja is back with Steiner.
She is, and it's funny you bring that up. Because they go to break, and when they come back, we're back in the locker room. Now, Kevin Nash lost his title the night before, and now has been told he'll have to fight all his friends to get a title shot back. Mm-hmm. We're in the dressing room, and Nash is just sitting down, holding Medeja's hand, and staring at her chest.
Well,
just, he's moved on. So Steiner and Jarrett say, we have a match. You have to go talk to Russo. And Nash says, I got tonight off. And Jarrett stops. Like, every week, Nash has to say something weird, and Jarrett has to stop and turn and react. Jarrett says, you got Mondays off? Since when? Since tonight. Anyway.
Some would argue that he's had Mondays off for a long time.
We have a Shane Douglas promo.
So apparently the pay-per-view, Franchise and Tori were not thrown off the scaffold. Kidman was thrown off through the stage, I guess. Mm-hmm. I don't know what happened to Medusa.
I said she fell off the scaffold somehow.
Okay, so anyway.
I'll take their word for it.
They challenged any team.
No, they challenged any couple in the back. So out come Kwee-Wee and Paisley. The match begins. Shane's in the ring. Tori's on the floor. Kwee-Wee is in the ring. Paisley's in the apron. The announcers are baffled. Is this a tag match?
I think everybody was
Is this
baffled.
a singles match? Is this a handicap match? No one ever knows what's going on this show. So Kwee-Wee forcibly kisses Tori against her will. This, of course, makes Paisley mad at Tori. Mm-hmm. Shane hits the franchiser on Kwee-Wee. But then Paisley wants to fight Tori. So Shane throws Queeby's corpse into the corner. Paisley tags in. Shane teases tagging in Tori, but as he swerve, he grabs Paisley, hits a franchiser on her, pins her in a very sexual manner. All of this in perhaps 2 minutes.
Well, I mean, to be fair, in the first match on the show, Tigress pinned Sanders with a very sexual pin.
That is true. There's a lot of...
So, this was 50-50. Is that the term?
I believe it.
Sure. I don't know if that's the term.
In this conversation, 69 may be more appropriate.
Okay.
Right.
Anyway, this was totally fine heel stuff. He was just a jerk.
Is Franchise's new move the worst finisher you've ever seen?
No, it's not very good.
It's really bad.
I
can't tell who's getting hurt.
Well,
me watching it, I guess.
It's not very good. Nash goes to meet with Russo, who's very excited and says he has a plan. So we go to break, and we come back, and it's the fucking chalkboard gag again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They just do the exact same joke.
Well, it worked the first time.
It's solid material. This is good shit. So Nash writes, "Bite me" on the board, and he walks out, and Russo stares at it, and there's a pregnant pause. He says, "Bite me? Nash, it's the same gag."
Yes.
Like an hour, not even an hour later. Brian, did you write down Pamela Paulshock's question?
I just know that she randomly announced it was Sting versus Booker for the title, and they I don't even know what happened. They all of a sudden just got mad at each other.
So it's Sting and Booker for the title tonight. Booker starts talking about how he respects Sting. Sting says something fiery. Booker sucker punches Sting. Mm-hmm. And then Sting beats Booker's ass. He's a worse champion than The Rock. Disco, who has a duck now.
Yeah.
Get it?
Disco duck.
Yes. Now, they keep saying it's an inflatable duck. Do they know what inflatable means?
I don't think so.
It's a hard plastic duck. So he goes to meet with the Cat. The Cat challenges him to a match. I don't know why. But he says, if you beat me, Disco Inferno, you can be commissioner for a day. But you have to put something on the line, too. And Disco says, that's fine. If you beat me, you can strip Rey Mysterio Jr. and Juventud Guerrera of the tag team titles. Because that's what this company needs, is more vacant titles.
You know what I love about this whole thing with the duck is...
Do tell.
Disco has a duck,
yes.
Okay? Somebody thought it would be funny for there to be a disco duck. But every time that Shat talks about the duck, yes, he calls it a goose.
Correct.
Because he thinks it's funnier to call a duck a goose,
yes,
than to say that there's a disco duck.
I don't know.
Nothing. Everything sucks about this show.
Sting, also a hero, throws a tantrum in his locker room. And he's destroying stuff and tearing shelving down.
Why is he so mad? He beat up a Booker, and he's getting a title match. Now he's mad?
I also like that he has his own dressing room, which has its own mood lighting. It's
cool.
like all dark, and there's like one big red light in the corner.
Maybe he stole Vampiro's room after
he may have, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have a winner gets the lighting rig match? Booker also throws a tantrum. He's throwing furniture everywhere. But at least this makes sense, because Booker got his ass kicked.
Sure.
So he got embarrassed. The Cat goes to wrestle Disco Inferno. Disco is backstage with the Filthy Animals, who of course are mad at him, and he says, it's okay, guys, just do a run-in. Cat can see this on the monitor. Cat says, if your friends come down here, I will suspend them for 3 months without pay. So Disco comes out alone. The match goes, I swear to God, 10 seconds, and the Cat kicks him and pins him. The Animals.
Yeah, I'd totally forgotten, but in fact, they have been stripped of the titles. And the spoiler here, the titles are in fact vacant. And so they do a battle royal next week to determine who the new champions are going to be.
Please tell me it's like one of those battle royals where the last two men, whoever they may be, are, and it's some random mismatched team.
No.
Yeah.
It's Jindrak and O'Hare.
No.
Which begs the question, why couldn't they beat the Filthy Animals to win the tag team titles and maybe get over?
Mm-hmm. That's their problem, Brian. They may have gotten over that way.
I realize that.
We're in a sabotage mission here. So the Animals chase Disco Inferno through the crowd. Nash tells Jeff Jarrett and Scott Steiner that he's leaving the building. He's tired of this shit. He's walking away from his chance to fight his friends for a title shot. Disco Inferno also drives away.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God.
The announcer spends several minutes asking who Russo's partner will be now, and then...
So, this was clearly Russo.
You think?
Because it was just like the registered letter.
Oh,
I could not
1,000 times worse.
Wait for this to end. Mike Tenay goes to David Flair's house. And it's Mike Tenay, so it's like the acting is so preposterous.
Yep.
Like, David Flair is horrible.
Yes.
But he's like an Oscar contender compared to Mike Tenay. David wants to know what he wants. Lets him in.
But before he lets him in, he says, "Are you alone?" And Mike Tenay says yes. And David pokes his head out, and he looks to the left, he looks to the right, and says, "Okay, come in." So, ignoring there's a cameraman right there.
We're supposed to forget about that.
So, the cameraman and Mike Tenay go into the house.
So, the house is a mess, and there's half-eaten pizza, and there's just a wretched couch.
Why all the candles?
David says...
This morning.
I see.
"You want to sit down?" Mike Tenay says, "It's okay. I'll stand."
Sad lonely men light a lot of candles quick.
I'm like, dude, it's a 2-hour show. We're doing small talk about whether you want to sit down. David then goes, "You want something to eat?" Mike Tenay goes, "I've already eaten." I'm like, oh my God, I could already tell this is going to go an hour. Tenay then asks the following question to David Flair. On national television, by the way. What's it like having your life crumble right before your eyes and a national television audience? And what does that do to your mental stability?
What's it like to be left at the altar and find out your fiancé is pregnant with someone else's baby? And then, yes, that is a quote. How does that affect your mental stability?
I'm guessing not good.
He says that I'm fucking nuts and plunged a large knife into Mike Tenay's chest.
This was so awful. David doesn't answer. Mike Tenay then wants to know, do you know who the father is?
I'm already bored.
David jumps up and he goes and looks out the window. He's all crazy. Tenay says, "I confronted Stacy with the same question. I did not get an answer. Have you had a chance to talk to her since?" David then begins to try to light a cigarette. But he can't figure out how to light it. This is very important to this segment here.
Sure.
Mike Tenay goes, "David, you don't smoke, and I don't either." David goes, "Right." He puts it down and he mutters, "They'll kill you anyway." I'm like, what am I watching? I got stuff to do today. Tenay says, "Do you know who it might be?" David says, "Reed."
I can go over every line.
Mike Tenay goes, "Reed? Who's Reed?" I'm like, listen, this is bullshit enough, but of all fucking people in this company, you know who fucking Reed is. David goes, "My brother Reed." So Tenay, who didn't know who Reed was, now says Reed's 11. You didn't know who Reed was, but now you know how old he fucking is? He says he's probably not under suspicion. Well, he is under suspicion from David Flair. David then runs to the window again. Says the father is here. But then he just goes and sits back down. Tenay says, "Have you asked Rick if he's the father? Have you asked your dad?" David mutters no. Tenay says, he didn't deny the fact that he was the father. David suddenly jumps up. He runs outside. There's a mailman. This could actually be something fun.
Sure.
Instead, he clotheslines the mailman. He puts him in the figure 4. Mike Tenay pulls David off the mailman. David runs in. The mailman goes, "I think he broke my leg." Then they end it. That's the segment.
Yeah.
It was so awful.
Yes, I had to go over every single question. I needed to tell you, the listener, what we watched. I refuse to watch that and not recap the whole thing. If you're suffering, too bad.
You could have just left it with...
No!
A mailman was beat up.
No!
Now, I will add, when the mailman arrived, they cut to him.
Yeah.
Which means there were 2 cameramen there David Flair couldn't see.
It's true.
And yes, the mailman said...
Well, maybe the mailman had his own cameraman.
I hadn't thought of that. You know what?
Maybe they were doing some sort of documentary.
Yeah, sure. in 2019, that wouldn't be weird at all. So maybe he's ahead of the curve.
True.
But yes, and then the mailman said, "I think he broke my leg," in a way to indicate there's 0% chance that man has a broken bone. This was so ungodly bad. We went so long, my computer just went into sleep mode. Okay, now...
So are the listeners.
Touche. We go back to the building. M.I. Smooth is in the ring. Ice Train, the limo driver.
Yes.
Here I wrote in all capital letters, what in the fuck is this show?
Well, apparently she was impregnated in M.I. Smooth's limo.
We've now learned, M.I. Smooth says, the father, the culprit, did the deed in the back of my limousine.
Excuse me, the culprit? I had never labeled myself as such when people ask me how I'm related to Paisley. I'm the culprit.
Someone here actually used that term. I forget who it was. One of the announcers that used the word culprit.
So this means that not only was somebody having sex in a limo, M.I. Smooth was watching.
No.
Filming!
Billy Kidman. They said Billy Kidman was filming on his kid cam.
There was 4 people in the limo?
Well,
so why doesn't he go after Kidman
handed him
then?
the keys and left.
Okay.
So he may have said the cameras are rolling. Anyway. So yes, Billy Kidman is a voyeur. That is his gimmick.
Yeah, that's
true. He likes to film people while they make love in the back of the limousine.
That's true. And in showers and everything.
That's true. He's done this before. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got to be part of it.
Huge perv. So Smooth says, David Flair, I have a videotape here that shows Stacy Keibler being impregnated. Give me cash. I will give you the video, and then you will know who the father is.
I mean, how do we know that was the incident?
That's true.
It may have happened. That's true.
We have no idea.
This
is the one time in her life that she was copulating.
She did wear white at the wedding. So, anyway, David buys the videotape from M.I. Smooth, and then he hits him with a crowbar, lays him out, and runs away.
He didn't even take his money back.
I didn't even notice.
Okay.
Vince Russo's in the back reading
We don't know how
something.
much he gave him. He could have given him $2. Because M.I. Smooth was counting it when he was hit from behind.
So Vince Russo's in the locker room reading something. I can't see what it is. But when the other guys show up, he hides it quickly and pulls out a muscle
Probably
magnet.
High Times. Since he came up with the idea for Chronic.
Jarrett accuses him of reading soft porn.
Soft.
That's what he called it. Not soft core. Soft porn.
Okay.
So Jarrett and Steiner demand to know who Russo's partner is going to be. He suggests Chronic. They bury Chronic for a while. And then Russo wants to talk...
Steiner goes, they suck!
Well...
Russo wants to talk about Booker and Sting. And that's it. Booker goes for a walk. Sting goes for a walk. David demands the tech geek play this tape right now. And when the tech geek turns around to play the tape right now, David hits him with a crowbar and apparently murders him. The Red Rooster tells Mike Sanders that Vince Russo wants to see him, and Vince Russo is very excited. Or Mike is very excited.
Sanders is so excited to meet with Russo, and then when Russo gives him a tape to give to Chronic...
Cassette tape.
And he tells Sanders, you have no idea who gave this to you. Sanders is so excited that Vince Russo likes him.
Yeah. Booker T versus Sting. This match goes 2 minutes. Sting has Booker T in the Scorpion. Booker's fucked, and Jarrett attacks for the DQ. This show sucks, and Booker's the worst champ I ever saw. A guitar gets used. Steiner is out there. They put the babyfaces in their submission holds and leave them laying. Sanders delivers the tape to Chronic.
To Clark.
To Brian Clark.
I don't know where Adams was.
Getting high, probably.
Clark is just being a total jerk.
Well, he usually is. You watch the show?
I know.
His name is Wrath, for God's sake.
That is true.
Jimmy Hart explains to David Flair...
I guess I'd be disappointed if he wasn't wrathful.
Yes. Jimmy Hart explains to David Flair how videotapes work.
Yeah, David's trying to pull the tape out of it and look at it like it's,
film.
35 millimeter or whatever.
So he's ruined the tape, by the way.
VCR.
It's true.
So David says thank you, and then he hits Jimmy with a crowbar and murders him. The Chronic... Yes, The Chronic. I just said that.
Yes.
Chronic goes into Kat's office, says...
Great album.
Listen to this tape. Kat does not listen to this tape, but they want to beat up Jarrett and Steiner. Kat says, fine. He tells Miss Jones to go tell Jarrett and Steiner they have a match with Chronic.
So clearly, Russo was recording Scott Steiner saying that they sucked. That's what the tape was.
Was all of this necessary to book Jarrett Steiner versus Chronic? You couldn't just say, tonight on Nitro, Jeff Jarrett teams with Scott Steiner to face Chronic.
I'm glad you were here, Brian.
Russo threw them under the bus.
I needed an 85-step, chapter after chapter storyline to explain Chronic versus Jarrett and Steiner.
Yes.
Lance Storm comes out for a promo. They are in Canada, so he's beloved. He brags about winning 2 title matches at Fall Brawl and calls out the newest member of Team Canada, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
So Duggan comes out, and he has shaved his beard, and he has cut all of his hair off.
I had forgotten.
Mm-hmm. And apparently, he was just sitting there all day in catering, and nobody knew who he was.
I believe it. He's a very, very big man, but he was unrecognizable clean-shaven.
Yep.
I remembered him being in Team Canada. I forgot he shaved to be in Team Canada. It was a very, very strange look on him. So
he cuts his promo saying it's great to be appreciated. I carried that other flag. These fans treated me like garbage. And I thought, I heard this from Becky Lynch. And it was bullshit. But then he explains, I fought Goldberg. He brutalized me. I was sent to the ambulance with blood flowing from my body, my family crying. And all I could hear from inside the arena was Goldberg, Goldberg. And I thought, you're right! That happened! So what? Even Russo did this right. What WWE screwed up with Becky Lynch.
Well, that's true, but I would credit Hacksaw before I credit Russo.
Well, sure. Said no more Mr. Nice Guy, no more Mr. USA. I'm in it for one man, and that's Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Place is going crazy for this guy.
So here's the funny part about all this. He cuts his treasonous promo, frankly. But as a member of Team Canada, he's in Canada, so he's a giant babyface. So in the match, he's just Hacksaw Duggan with no beard.
Right.
Nothing has changed except the color of his gear.
Until next week when they're back in the U.S.
That will change. So we get Team Canada versus the MIA in a trios match. The Wall is still around. I had completely forgotten. Mm-hmm. He puts Elix through a table. It's not a DQ. Duggan is hitting dudes with a 2x4. It's not a DQ. He hits General Erection with a 2x4, and he pins him. All right.
Yeah.
And then they Pillmanize Erection's leg for good measure. Scott Steiner tries to kill Vince Russo. They're barely able to pull him off. Jarrett vows to take care of Chronic and then take care of Russo. Russo mutters, I swear to God, I have no idea what he said, and Tony asked who he's talking about. That 70s bus arrives. Mike Awesome gets off. Mm-hmm. Gary Coleman is there.
Yeah.
We'll explain what happened to him at the pay-per-view later, but for here, he says, Mike Awesome, you're a bastard, after riding to the building on a bus with him. And Jarrett's going to get his too. Gary Coleman walks away. Awesome is taken aback. He goes into the building. In the background, we see Vampiro and the Clowns creeping towards the bus.
Why is Rob giving me that look? Okay. What's going on
Share with the rest of the class, Rob.
The moment's passed now, but when he said Gary Coleman got off the bus, the obvious reply is, what you talking about, Vinny?
Thank you, Rob.
You're welcome.
He waited so long.
Chronic versus Jeff Jarrett and Steiner. So Chronic comes out, but then Nash comes out with the Natural Born Thrillers, says, you guys are not in Jarrett and Steiner's league. I'm here with these young lions, which is exactly what he called them. I'm going to pick 2 of them to volunteer and face you guys, and then everyone steps back except Mike Sanders and Johnny the Bull, so they're volunteers. Which, now that I think about it, that is exactly how Bryan picked the best man at his wedding.
That's true.
All the groomsmen were there. With the wedding rehearsal the day before.
That's right.
It was me and Craig and producer Tony, and that may have been it. And the officiant says, who is the best man? And we all look at Tony and step backwards.
Yep.
That is exactly how it happened.
Yep.
So
that was the rehearsal dinner that we didn't realize we had to get dressed up for.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we were goofs.
Yeah.
All right, so it's Mike Sanders and Johnny the Bull versus Chronic. Let me start this over. It's Chronic versus Mike Sanders and Johnny the Bull, and Reno, who runs in a minute, and Chuck Palumbo, who runs in after that, and Mark Jindrak, and Sean O'Hare. So they're doing this big giant match, and then Steiner and Jarrett hit them from behind, hit them from a pipe, and pin them.
They were still in the match.
And my notes read, what in the holy fuck was this?
I was lost at this point.
What the fuck is happening?
I was so beyond lost.
Russo goes to somebody's dressing room. Mm-hmm. Mike Awesome
He's with Pamela again.
Trying to make time with Pamela.
Yep. Oh, he sure is all right, Vinny.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that.
Don't even spoil it. I want to do it.
That's fair. 3 count stooges off Vampiro and his buddies. They say, what happened to your bus? Mike Awesome says, what do you mean? He walks 3 steps. He turns the corner and there's the bus. And they painted shit all over it. And his Vampiro ICP rules, 70 sucks, whatever. And Mike Awesome has to act.
Oh my God! What happened? Who did this to my bus? Those were his exact words.
I paid top dollar for this bus.
I'm gonna kill someone. That's what he said.
Can you imagine Mike Awesome? Mike Awesome threatened to kill someone, and it was not believable.
No.
That's the level of bad acting this was.
Not to mention, he was asking all these questions, who could have done this? And meanwhile, on the bus is written, ICP rules, Vampiro. Oh my God.
Mike Mediocre.
He's a poor detective.
Is Mike Mediocre better or worse than above average Mike Sanders?
Worse.
Okay.
Just barely, though.
My mediocre and average are basically the same thing. He's above average.
Okay.
We are coming up on a point here where this company, I believe on the same show, has Mike Awesome, above average Mike Sanders, and Mike Modest.
That's true. That's right.
I like Mike Modest the best. Humble.
So, Russo is in Sting's dressing room.
Yes.
He wants Sting to be his partner. Sting, of course, is going to say no and kill him, but he is a dummy. Like all babyfaces, he is stupid and a dummy. And Vince Russo is able to persuade him and outsmart him and maneuver him into accepting the bait and being his partner for the chance at winning that title shot next week.
Sting fell for it.
Because he's a dummy, Brian.
Yes.
Babyfaces are dumb. So Mike Awesome, last we saw him. Now I will save the best part for you.
Thank you.
I will just point out.
Thank you.
I will just point out that he was so angry that his bus has been destroyed and vandalized. He was furious, but he comes out here and he's smiling and he's flashing peace signs.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's smiling and happy, but once he gets in the ring, he's mad. He says, I'm a happy guy. I'm a happy guy, but I'm very upset about my bus. I am sick and tired of everyone messing with the awesome Love Mobile. I told you.
It's a fact now.
I told you that's what this was.
Now it is canon.
He was trying to get Pamela on his Love Mobile again this week.
This is Brian. This is the story. It is Mike Awesome's bus that he drives around the country and makes love.
Yeah.
It's the Love Mobile.
It's the Love Mobile. Which, by the way, begs the question, why is he not under suspicion for impregnating Stacy Keibler?
That's true. That's
right?
True.
By the way, right before this, they announced that there will be a swimsuit contest next week to crown Miss WCW.
Cool.
Yeah. As I remember, the Howard Stern Whack Pack is...
They teased them a lot, too.
Yeah.
Couldn't get Howard himself, mind you.
No. He's a star.
He is. So, Mike Awesome challenges... He solved the mystery, at least. Or somebody... Probably 3 count, probably stooged off.
Him off. Yeah.
He challenges Vampiro to a hardcore match, tells him to leave those sissy clowns in the back.
Mike Awesome is out here. He at least got to take off his jacket. But he's out there in his 70s pants and his dress shoes, having to do this damn match. Keep in mind, Lance Storm got them to remove the logo because he kept slipping on it in his wrestling boots. This guy's wearing dress shoes, which are slick, like just being dress shoes. He does his running giant dive over the top rope in his slacks and dress shoes. That was pretty impressive.
This match was fun.
Yeah, it was the best thing on the show.
I will say nothing bad about this match. And while we're talking about clothes, I also liked Vampiro's Mariachi from Hell outfit. That was cool, too. So they had a good hardcore brawl. There's all kinds of weapon shots. There's all kinds of crowd brawling, but it's all good. And finally, Vampiro gets powerbombed out of the ring through a table. Tony screams, it's the spot of the night. And Awesome pins him out there, because I guess in WCW, hardcore is also false count anywhere. Awesome wins.
This was good. They brawl into the crowd, big dive off the riser, and by Vamp. It was a good match. Best thing on the show.
They didn't miss the dive from the riser, But as he climbs up onto the barricade, they cut to a worse camera angle.
That's true.
They could still see it. It was only the dives that totally get missed, but yeah, it was dumb. So Booker now goes into Russo's locker room, and Russo is scared, and we don't see what happens. It just goes to black, but we could see in the back of this locker room, there's a couch in there, but it's not on the floor, like where you sit on them. It's on its end up against the wall. Why?
You're asking me why on a Vince Russo show for anything?
I actually am. Maybe something I missed. Maybe somebody has an angle where they upset furniture. David is watching the tape in the limousine.
That's what upset the furniture.
So there's a camera in the limo watching David watch the tape. Then there's a camera outside the limo when he jumps out. He destroys the tape with a crowbar. He screams Stacy's name, and he runs away. This leads to Jarrett and Steiner versus Vince Russo and Sting.
I wrote Steiner and Russo. No, Sting and Russo versus Steiner and Jarrett or something. Because Booker T's in the match.
Booker T takes Russo's place. So they're doing this match.
Well, he doesn't, because Russo ends up getting the pin.
Well, that's a great point.
So it's just another guy in there.
So Madej is in there hitting dudes with a pipe. Miss Jones trips her. The announcers are screaming about how they have no idea what's going on. Because that is the point of Nitro. Nobody ever knows what's going on. As a wrestling match for what the 5 men counting the ref before they did, it was a fine little TV main event tag match. Until Chronic attacks Jarrett. Not a DQ. Steiner wages absolute, complete, total warfare on Booker T's testicles.
Yes.
Not a DQ. Vince Russo limps out and grabs the referee. Not a DQ. Steiner levels Russo, who last I checked, they were still friends. But Booker T hits Steiner in his bad face with a bat. He puts Russo on top, so Russo wins. And then Booker grabs him and says, "I will see you next Monday night."
So Booker T is looking for the easy way out by giving the win to Vince Russo?
Yeah, that's what we're supposed to think, yes.
Or he just wants to beat him up in a fair athletic contest and not just kick his ass right here. Even though he apparently kicked his ass in the locker room earlier. I don't know.
I mean, it's not a one-on-one match next week. It's the triple cage of doom with like 10 guys in it. Gosh. So Booker's going to end up looking like a moron. He is the worst champion I've seen in a long time.
He's worse than Ray. He's worse than Mankind. He's way worse than The Rock in the other show. I closed by simply writing, what a brutal mockery of pro wrestling this show was.
I just wrote horrible show. But yes, it was a brutal mockery of the business of professional wrestling.
The art.
Are you ready?
As ever. The finishes on this brutal show were like a dozen pins in 5 minutes in an elimination match. 2 pins in a 2-minute intergender tag match. Pin with a kick in 10 seconds. DQ due to run-in in 2 minutes. Pin after a bunch of 2x4 shots. Pin in a 9-on-2 handicap match after pipe shot. Pin in a hardcore match after powerbomb through a table. And then pin in a tag match by a guy who may or may not have been in it after interference by 2 men was not a DQ. And nut shots were not a DQ, and a baseball bat shot was not a DQ.
Sounds like it was a no DQ match.
I guess.
They never announced anything, and there was a DQ on the show, so I can't assume it is.
Well, you're probably right.
Fuck, Nitro's awful.
We are at war.
Mm-hmm. Dude.
I got so much.
We will be here. This will be a 2-part episode of the Bryan Vinny Show. I'll be back tomorrow night to finish up.
So much to say.
WCW Monday Night Show, September 25th of the year 2000. Let's just get going. Jeremy Borash narrates a hype video for Vince Russo, painting him as the courageous underdog, the hometown hero getting his title shot tonight.
So I hate to do this now and not at the end.
How many words are right by the show?
But I've got to say this now because as we recap the show,
2,000 words about this show.
It'll all be even more amazing.
Okay.
All right. So, during the day, they were going over the show and everything like that. And Booker T was under the impression that, well, I'm going to step out the door and Goldberg is going to spear him out of the cage, and it'll be a tie. Mm-hmm. I am not losing the title to Vince Russo. So, what basically happened, the way that it was explained to me is, Russo gave everybody the impression that he was not going to become the world champion. They were just going to do a tie, and then I guess they would go where they went from there. But what actually happened was, they did the tie, and then he just came out on Thunder and said, I hit the ground first, I'm the world champion. So think of all of this as we recap this show. As we recap this show, as it's going on, everybody just thinks we're just going to do a tie, and he's not going to be the champion.
A limousine arrives at the building. It's Russo and his lackey Borash. The best part about this is they had security there just flanking them, and these security guards could not stop looking at the camera and giggling. It begins. Big Vito versus Johnny the Bull in an I Quit Stickball Bat versus Kendo Stick match.
Yeah.
Do I need to say this again? Are we all clear on this?
We're clear. We don't have all night.
We introduce Vito's sister, Maria.
I didn't even know about her.
And she's never been seen before. And Scott Hudson says, what a dish she is.
Well, while we're on the subject of Scott Hudson explains to me as this match starts that Johnny the Bull and Big Vito had dominated the tag team division in WCW before they broke up. I thought, wait a second. Mm-hmm. I know they had matches, but they dominated the tag team division. Like, this was really weighing on me. So I'm like, I'm going to find out if this is true. So I Googled Johnny the Bull. I go to Wikipedia. I scroll down, and there in championships and accomplishments, 2-time WCW World Tag Team Champions.
Yes.
I'm like, they won the tag titles twice. Why in God's name don't I remember that? And so I scroll up. I go to list of WCW World Tag Team Champions. Sure enough, 2 one-month reigns by Big Vito and Johnny the Bull. I'm like, what?
Okay. So this match,
Where was I?
It was probably this year watching this show, dude.
It was the year 2000.
Yeah. They hit each other with sticks for 5 minutes. We need a third person to get involved, so Reno runs down, hits Vito with a stick for 5 minutes. Finally, Maria can take no more, and
I couldn't either.
In the I Quit Stickball Bat versus Kendo Stick match, Maria quits on behalf of Big Vito, as Reno is hitting him with a stick, and thus Johnny the Bull wins.
Yes. Uproarious booing by these fans. They were not accepting this.
Did anyone else, by the way, see Maria hit the ring and nearly tear both quads like this man?
Oh, dude, it wasn't even that. She couldn't even get in the ring. Okay? We saw... Well, she couldn't get in the ring.
I wrote a little joke when she hit her quads.
I can't wait.
When she hit her quads on the ring apron, I said, Oy vey, Maria. Thank you.
Thank you. The intro made that so much better.
Thank you.
Thank you. Russo and Borash go for a walk backstage. There's a camera on the street somewhere that somehow knows David Flair is going to drive up to this exact point. David Flair drives his truck up to this exact point. He attacks a man on a payphone. Because this payphone has the only directory, apparently, in whatever city he's in. He looks up a name. He looks up an address. He screams out where to get to this address. He gets back in his truck and he drives away, leaving the cameraman on the street by this random payphone.
I just absolutely love the fact that he had to steal a payphone because there's a phone book that has people's names, phone numbers, and addresses in it.
So those still exist?
No!
Phone books.
Well, phone books do.
Yeah.
But you're going to find a phone booth.
That would be rare.
There's one phone booth right outside Cannon Beach, right next to Moe's. But it's like a historic marker.
Oh, jeez.
I don't think it works.
Tourism attraction.
Yeah.
Last phone booth in Oregon.
Rob knows.
Mm-hmm. Jeff Jarrett and Scott Steiner come out for a promo. Now they're all happy.
Yeah, they're all on the same page with Russo becoming the champion of the world.
Scott Steiner's taking credit for running Goldberg out of wrestling. He addresses Jumbo Elliott, who's a big-time NFL football player who went to the same college Steiner did and now plays in New York. Steiner brings out Russo.
Russo is the third guy out. He's given the superstar entrance. He's the main eventer. He's out here cutting this babyface promo, but then he has to bury the place and talk about how great Atlanta is.
That's not what happened.
Yeah, he did.
He buried Atlanta.
Oh, well, anyway. He says, do I have the balls to walk out of here as the WCW World Heavyweight Champion? You know I do. Like, come on. Kidding me? He's making himself the babyface here.
He tried to. Sting and Booker T appear on the screen to tell Russo to look behind him, and there's Goldberg in the crowd.
We're told Goldberg quit, and he can't come back. What?
Don't know. Chronic is backstage. They call Mike Sanders a stooge. He calls them cupcakes. They get very upset. He tells them Russo is mad at them for Thunder. He has removed them from the Tag Team Championship Battle Royal.
Okay, so a couple of things. The Tag Team Championship Battle Royal is taking place because Disco and a Duck did something last week that caused the Filthy Animals to get stripped of their titles.
He lost.
I don't remember. I don't care. Okay, so they're going to do a Battle Royal to determine who becomes the new champions.
Yes.
Okay. The Battle Royal participants are in the ring while Chronic is backstage just sitting in the locker room when Sanders comes up and tells them they're not in the Battle Royal.
Yeah.
What are you guys waiting for?
He should have not told them. They would have no-showed.
Okay, so aside from that, the key to this is that after they are removed from the Battle Royal, Crush is very mad as Sanders walks away. But Adam Bomb grabs him and says, hold on a second. I've got a plan.
A plan.
A plan. He's got a plan to solve the problem of them not being in the Battle Royal.
I can only imagine.
What could this plan
I can only imagine what strategy Hannibal here is about to unfold. So it's a tag team Battle Royal. As you noted, all the teams in the ring.
Leia Meow is randomly out there slapping.
Was she hearing back?
She must have come back.
I don't
in the
know.
last,
3 counts out there. Leia Meow is slapping Jimmy Yang, but they're together. So I see Jindrak and a hair and the Heresies and MIA, and out come the Filthy Animals, and they're in the match.
Yeah.
This match is happening because they got stripped of the titles.
Well, they got to get their rematch.
So they start doing stuff, and the announcers, Shane Helms gets tossed out of the ring through a table, because there's randomly a table on the floor. The announcers then tell us 3 counts not out until the other 2 guys are also eliminated.
Yeah, the whole team has to be eliminated.
Right.
As they say this, the ring announcer over the house mic says, 3 count has been eliminated.
Because nobody knows what's going on.
Nobody has a fucking clue what's going on.
No, everyone's confused.
So Conan is at the desk making masturbation jokes. Chronic comes out.
That's their plan.
Yeah. The plan.
Our plan is we're going to go out anyway and beat everybody up.
They get in the ring. They beat everyone up.
Cunning.
Until
they throw like half the crew.
Their plan is foiled. Their brilliant plan is foiled because a guy comes out with mace and sprays them. Mm-hmm. They're carted away.
As Conan notes, they're actually selling the mace.
Yes. Brilliant plan.
So now it's down to the Filthy Animals versus Jindrak and O'Hare. Disco runs out. He hits Hoobie with a duck and pulls him out of the ring. Conan chases Disco away. The bell rings because nobody knows what's going on. Now Ray's wrestling 2 guys. Is it that hard to do a fucking battle royal?
Yes, because they added a new stip that confused everybody. It's a tag team battle royal to crown tag team champions. All I know is I've never seen Conan run so fast.
Yeah. For the chance to hit Disco?
I didn't think he could
that was
move
his motivation.
that fast.
Eventually, Jindrak and O'Hare win. They are the best tag team on Earth.
Yeah.
There's a bikini contest tonight, and Tori Wilson's putting on lotion.
Yeah.
Mean Gene is there with Pamela Paulshock in her, as he called it, a beaver coat. She pointed out it was fake.
The funniest thing is he goes, is that a beaver coat? And she goes, no, it's fake. He didn't ask if it was a real beaver coat. He said, is that a beaver coat? No, she says, it's fake.
So they're doing a bikini contest. Pamela Paulshock is a hot blonde with giant implants wearing the biggest fake beaver coat you ever saw in your life. Gee, I wonder where this is going. They are there to interview the Whack Pack from Howard Stern. There's Hank the Angry Drunken Dwarf. There's Crackhead Bob. There's High Pitch Eric and Elephant Boy and Beetlejuice. I got nothing out of anything anyone here said.
I believe only one of them is still alive. I could be wrong.
So as if there's not enough people on screen, Kevin Nash and the Natural Born Thrillers arrive. There's a battle royal in this promo, for God's sake. Nash points out his boys just won the World Tag Team Championships. You're wasting time with these guys. And he turns to Beetlejuice, shakes his head, and says, "It's nice to meet you, Elix." And everyone laughs. Because I'm guessing he threw that in there on the spot. It continues.
Okay, so Violent J comes out, and he does his promo. And he says, thanks to Mike Awesome, Vampiro is at home nursing a ruptured spleen or something.
Or something.
Doesn't even know what it is. He says, Madman Pondo, he's hardcore. Rude Boy, he's hardcore. Death Dealer Tommy Starr, he's hardcore. Mike Awesome, just like the 70s, you're dead. Now, I'm not making light of the death of Mike Awesome, but all of these names that Violent J is mentioning here are these crazy hardcore deathmatch guys.
Right. Yeah.
Of these names, Mike Awesome is deceased, and all of the rest of these men are alive. Then he says, I'm challenging you, Mike Awesome, and I quote, your retarded bus to a match tonight against myself and Shaggy.
Ironic.
He challenges Bus?
He challenged the bus.
Yeah.
He wants to fight the bus.
Now, as coincidence would have it, the bus was there, and the bus did in fact get involved with this match. Now, they still called it a handicap match. The bus didn't count, but they have this match.
But it shot on a guy.
Violent J takes a bump off the bus through a table.
Which was scary enough by itself, by the way.
Yes.
It was an insane bump.
So this is a legitimate bus.
Yes.
This bus is 10, 12 feet off the ground, the roof.
And not designed to be walked on and have spots done upon it. And they didn't take the time to put any carpeting or any kind of traction down on top of it either.
I'm pretty sure they rubbed like animal fat on it.
I think they tried to do something because you noticed that there was a black stripe down the top of it.
Well, they didn't do enough.
Well, you need a little more than one stripe unless they're going to do a gymnastics routine.
Some skateboard grip tape would have been preferable.
So Awesome gives Shaggy an awesome bomb on the roof of the bus.
Did we mention that the roof of the bus is round?
Yes.
This is important.
Shaggy lands, and he starts to slide.
And he kept selling.
And he doesn't know what to do, so the best he can do is on the way down, try to reach into one of the open windows to slightly break his fall. He falls all the way off this bus and crashes on the ground. He's dead.
How is he not actually dead in 2019?
Mike Awesome
he
wins.
Is alive. I have no idea how watching this.
There was concern.
There should be.
Everybody involved here.
Awesome, after powerbombing him on the bus, noting he was sliding off, attempted to save him.
Violent J, Shaggy 2-Dope, Madman Pondo, The Rude Boy, and Death Dealer Tommy Starr, all alive. Mike Awesome, unfortunately, is dead. The one man in this segment.
Yeah. So this is, I think, the most famous thing, I shouldn't say famous, the most notorious thing that happens in the show, but there's a lot more to come.
Oh, are you kidding me? Russo being speared out of that cage and winning the title is far more notorious than that. But I'll give that second place.
Major Guns is also getting ready for the bikini contest. The Cat and Miss Jones go for a walk. David Flair is lost. Somehow, there is now a camera in his truck.
Yeah.
He goes to a Chuck E. Cheese to ask for directions. Somehow, there was also a camera in Chuck E. Cheese. They knew he was going to get lost and knew he would come to this pizza parlor to ask for help.
Oh, and this
I'm not sure you should overthink this one, Vinny.
Oh, I'm going to.
This girl he asked for help was the worst.
She probably was a real employee, be my guess.
Not an acting employee.
I don't know. I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
He goes charging into the ball pit. It is a pail.
Do you know how much you would have to pay me to jump into a ball pit at Chuck E. Cheese?
Hardly anything at all.
Oh, you're wrong.
Oh, are you ever wrong?
This is a pale imitation of the Headbangers Crash Holly.
You're worried about SARS or something?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually.
All sorts of infections. The cat who was wearing leather pajamas comes out to do a promo with Miss Jones.
Okay. I'm not the biggest fan of the Shat. But this was his greatest moment.
The fact you call him the Shat is usually a clue, but okay.
He's in the ring, and Sanders comes out, and Sanders tries to hit Shat with a baseball bat. He lifts the bat above his head and tries to swing down onto Shat's head. Shat responds by shooting both arms up in a cross, which blocks the baseball bat. Mm-hmm. It blocks the baseball bat.
Yep.
This is beyond ridiculous. He then, as his arms are crossed, he thrusts them forward and bonks the bat twice into Sanders' head.
Yes.
He then spins the bat, and Sanders does a full flip. This was the greatest thing I've ever seen Shat do. I watched it over and over and over again. It was better than a movie. Sanders is down on the ground. Nash comes out, and they beat up Shat, and that was sad.
Nash is the coach of the Natural Born Thrillers, so he just points to the ring, and they all run down and do the work. And they cut back to Nash smiling at the stage. One of the announcers just says, "Look how proud he is, standing on the sidelines." This is the perfect role for Kevin Nash. He gets to be on TV every week and never has to do anything. Tigress and Paisley talk about how hot they are.
Watch it.
It is time for the bikini contest.
Yes.
So the Whack Pack comes out.
Well, first, Pamela is there in her fur coat.
She's hosting.
She's acting as a co-host with Gene.
Yes.
Now, Gene Okerlund is doing most of the talking.
As he should.
And so his job is to, in the most serious manner possible, introduce all of these women. Yeah. So in the event center, or what did he do? He didn't do the event center. What did he do? In the Gene Okerlund update voice, he's introducing the mistress of domination, Leia Meow. Like, it was ridiculous.
So, Gene and Pam are in the ring. The contestants are on the floor. First, Gene introduces the Whack Pack people one by one. They all come out, and Hank is last, and he gropes all the women. So, yes, the first entrant is Shawn Michaels' future wife, Shay.
No.
Wrong one?
Yeah.
She's been gone forever. That's the one that...
Whisper?
Whisper.
Kevin Nash.
Oh, it's Kevin Nash's woman.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Allegedly. We don't know this.
He was going to eat a little Korean 2 weeks ago, remember?
Let's not make accusations.
That's what he said.
I apologize to both.
He didn't say Che.
Okay.
I apologize.
There are more than 2 Koreans on this planet.
Thank you, Brian.
I apologize to Nash, Shawn, Whisper, and Shay.
Thank you.
So, regardless, so she gets in the ring. And she's got like the oversized nightshirt on with the buttons down the front and clearly wearing a bikini underneath. So Gene introduces her, gives her all her credentials. She takes center stage, and then she retreats to the corner. So I'm thinking, okay, they will do the intros, and then they will disrobe,
You think they had a plan?
No, they didn't.
Because then Chiquita, who I've never heard of before, but she is next, and when she gets in the ring, now Chase is in her bikini in the corner. They missed the disrobe. So this happens for all 5 of them. They get in the ring in a shirt, and at some random point off camera, the shirt is removed, so now they're just standing there, like, just standing there. Major Guns comes out. She's got the U.S. flag bikini, so Hacksaw comes out, scolds her, orders her to cover up with a Canadian flag. So after all this, you got Tori Wilson out there. You've got Shay out there, Tigress, Paisley, Chiquita, Leia Meow, all these beautiful women in bikinis done as unsexily as possible to make you not care about these scantily clad women as much as they can do to make you not care. And obviously, for like an hour now, the payoff was going to be Pamela would surprise everyone and join in and blow everyone away with the fanciest bikini or the best body or whatever. So Pamela starts talking about, it's pretty warm in here. I think I'll just remove this. And she grabs the collars of her fake beaver coat, and they cut away for a long time.
Yeah.
like 10 seconds of other things going on, so we don't see it. And finally, they cut like a wide shot, and you can see she's standing there in this flesh-tone bikini with a Power Girl boob window there. It's just... They screwed up a bikini contest.
Oh, yeah.
The hot blonde with the giant implants was clearly about to remove her coat, and they cut away. This company can fuck up anything. This should have been the easiest segment in the world to produce.
Yes.
They did everything possible wrong, and there is more.
She claims she's not in the contest.
No.
All of the Whack Packers decide she's the winner.
The Whack Pack declare her the winner. So Leia Meow then threatens to whip her. And she grabs Pamela and puts her on her knees and rears back with a riding crop and waits. Because Medeja missed her cue. Medeja eventually hits the ring. And then time freezes.
Medeja runs down to hit the ring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Medeja runs down to hit the ring. And you have never seen a worse body slam.
Oh, yeah.
In your life.
You've never seen a worse physical confrontation.
Why did Medeja body slam Leia Meow?
I don't know.
Why did any of this happen?
I don't know.
This was, like, honest to God, you have never seen a worse segment featuring 7 beautiful women in bikinis.
Absolutely.
And I've been watching wrestling a long time. This was the worst segment I've seen in God only knows how long. I don't know what the point of it was. I don't know why it was booked in the first place. What, to set up a Medeja Leia Meow match? You've got to be kidding me. Tell me they never did that match. And if they did, how was it not worse than, like, Survivor Jenna versus Charmel? So the story, by the way, long story short, Pamela refused to participate in this unless she won.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And they went along with it.
So that was the worst goddamn bikini contest I ever saw. There are probably 100 no-cover strip bars between Tijuana and Vancouver. You can go to any one of them on a random Wednesday night, and you won't see women like this, but you will see a much better show, and you will have a lot more fun. I promise you.
I don't even think they ever did a match.
Good!
I don't know if I'm more or less
I don't want to pay it off.
I don't know if I'm more or less angry knowing that.
Mike Tenay interviews Scott Steiner. As he's talking, Bill Goldberg, the hero, attacks him from behind and lays him out. Disco comes out for a promo. He is about to announce his new partner when Scott Steiner interrupts and murders him.
His new partner?
That's what he said.
Okay, great.
So Scott Steiner calls out Goldberg. And Bill comes out and says, I will fight you, but I want a one-on-one, no interference match in this cage. There's a cage hanging above the ring for Booker T and Russo there.
I literally almost died.
I don't blame you.
When they just started doing an impromptu Scott Steiner versus Goldberg match inside a cage.
We need to set the whole groundwork for all this. This is coming off a Fall Brawl a week or two ago, which we did not watch. But everyone who did watch it advised us that the Scott Steiner-Bill Goldberg match was awesome. Bill Goldberg is by far the biggest star in the company. Scott Steiner is by far the best heel in the company. They have like one money match they can possibly do. It's Goldberg going against Steiner to get his revenge. And they can put it in a cage so there's no interference. And write that one down. No interference in a cage match. And they do it not just out of nowhere. It's impromptu. Forget unadvertised. They didn't do it, advertise it in the opening segment and do it for the main event. They did it impromptu. There was no way they could possibly have generated any income from their biggest possible match. I know this company dies in 6 months. That's a spoiler. But watching it all unfold, my jaw just hit the floor. I mean, this is important. This company died, and it has taken this industry 2 decades to recover because these dipshits did shit like this. So they're doing Bill Goldberg versus Scott Steiner in a Hell of a Cell with exactly 0 build. The good news is, at least it's fun. The raw, unfiltered stupidity of this company is on horrifying display, but the match is fun. So Medeja comes out with a pipe. And I ask myself, how is she going to get into the cell? Everyone guess how Medeja gets into the cell. Let's pause. Let him think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how Madeja could get into a cell to help Scott Steiner interfere. All right, here's whatever you're thinking. Here's what actually happened. She walked up to the door. She turned the knob. She opened it, and she walked in. What is the point of this fucking cage? What is going on? She hands Scott Steiner a pipe. Scott beats up Goldberg with the pipe. Leaves him lying. He has the match won because this is an escape the cage Hell in a Cell match. He goes to go out the door that Madeja had just walked through, but now Jumbo Elliott, the football player, is there to block his path. Bill Goldberg, who had been beaten and should have lost, he deserved to lose. He grabs Steiner, throws him back in, they do some stuff, he hits the spear, he walks out, and he wins. I was just baffled. I could not believe what I was watching at any point during this segment. This whole 15-minute deal, I was just blown away by what my eyes were seeing.
Well, let's add more that you didn't mention, Vinny. This was the night the WWF moved to TNN. So, with an unopposed first hour and no Raw on USA, the thought was, man, we'll have an unopposed first hour. And then, when all the fans can't find Raw on USA, they'll just watch Nitro. That's what they thought. So, don't you think that maybe if you're going to do Goldberg and Scott Steiner in a cage match, maybe that'd be something to announce in that unopposed first hour?
I mean, I would have.
To get people thinking about watching that match if they can't find WWF on the USA Network? No, this was impromptu. It was so impromptu that when they came down to the ring and began brawling as the cage lowered around them, and Tony Schiavone said, and I quote, "We have an impromptu cage brawl," I didn't even know it was a match. I was watching this thinking, why are these guys brawling and they lowered the cage? Well, where is security? Why are they still going? If obviously nothing's on the line because it's not even a match. Then, Steiner goes to escape and that big dude's there. What's his name? Jumbo.
It is in fact Jumbo.
Jumbo's there, and then Steiner goes back in, and then Goldberg goes to leave, and Goldberg steps out of the cage, and they rang the bell, and when they rang that bell, and I realized that was a match. Goldberg just beat Scott Steiner. He just got his revenge. What? I was flabbergasted. I was astounded by what I had seen. And when you know even more of this stuff, it's crazy.
So I mentioned earlier, Shaggy falling off the bus is the most notorious thing in the show. Also, on this very same episode, Jeff Jarrett El Kabong's Beetlejuice and breaks a guitar over his head.
Not even in the ring.
No.
He's just backstage and, hey, here's this guy. I'll hit him with my guitar.
Pam interviews Booker. Book knows there will be interference in his cage match tonight, so he's got backup. Somewhere in here, he said Vince Russo weighed 150 pounds. He's a 200-pound dude.
I was going to say, that guy ain't...
He's not small.
150 pounds. I don't know about 200, but maybe with that gut.
That counts, Brian.
I know.
When you step on the scale, believe me, the gut counts. Fine. Jeff Jarrett versus General Erection.
Jarrett versus Huge Erection. Let's just explain it like it's explained by them. Don't give them the benefit of the doubt.
Lance Storm comes out, takes the referee. Elix Skipper tries to interfere with a chair.
Can I read my finish here? Hacksaw whacks Erection with the 2x4. Am I wrong? That's what happened.
Oh, what am I doing with my life?
You're recapping the worst show that ever aired on television.
I am recapping.
That's what you're doing.
I am recapping the worst show
part of
in
history.
television with the company that managed to fuck up a bikini contest, and we're doing dick jokes. All right, cool.
No, we're not doing dick jokes. They are. His
true.
name is Huge Erection.
Right.
That's his name. What do you want me to do about it?
You're joining in.
You want me to defend them by going, well, that's Hugh Morris. No, it's Huge Erection. That's his name.
I thought he got promoted to general.
They mentioned that.
It doesn't matter if he got promoted. That's still his name.
He's General Huge Erection.
Yes. He's General Huge Erection. That's his name.
You know, I hadn't thought of that.
So
how do you not?
So
I have called it. Never mind.
Let me go over all this again. Lance takes the referee. Elix tries to hit Huge Erection with a chair.
Thank you.
Huge Erection fights them both off. The match continues. Lance takes the referee.
He beats them both off.
Yes. Lance takes the referee again. As Bryan so proudly noted, Duggan, what do you say? He whacked off Erection?
No, he whacked Erection with a 2x4.
Whatever.
That's what happened.
And that's the finish. And Jeff Jarrett pins him. Then Jeff Jarrett puts General Erection in the figure 4 leg lock. MIA is trying to make the save. Team Canada is fighting them off. Sting finally makes the save. Hacksaw Jim Duggan feeding his gut to Sting to hit him with a bat is the best thing in Nitro all of 2000.
He's the best.
And then Lance cuts a promo on Sting, challenging him to a match. And I think, okay, we'll get one good match in the show.
And we did.
And they go to break, and they come back, and the match is joined in progress. You fuckers.
I want you guys to remember, by the way, Lance versus Sting is the semi-main event.
Yeah.
Got it? Okay, that's important.
I had to watch Vito and Reno or who the fuck ever hit each other's sticks for 10 minutes, and Lance and Sting is joined in progress.
Yes.
Fuck off.
Well, the good news is, whenever Lance shows up, a wrestling match does in fact break out on the stupid show.
There's a good wrestling on this show somehow.
Now keep in mind, by the way, the guys involved in the best wrestling match on the entire show are actually just two dudes on the undercard of a show where Vince Russo becomes the world heavyweight champion.
Mm-hmm. So they go back and forth, and Sting grabs him, hits the death drop, and wins clean.
Yeah.
And he gets up, and then raises his hand, and he walks up the aisle, and he high-fives fans, and he's smiling, he's proud, he's triumphant, and he goes to the back, and they go to commercial.
Yeah.
Was this from a wrong show? No. Was this supposed to be something else?
They just wanted a match.
I was so baffled. They did a good match with a clean finish on this show. I can only assume that something else...
I'll tell you why. You want to know why?
I do, badly.
Well, apparently, I may get the details wrong, but...
I'm sure
we know a guy.
It was Vince Russo, and it was Bella's husband, Johnny Ace. They had a bet.
Yes.
Johnny Ace was certain he could get Lance over, and Russo said it was impossible. So, if you're trying to win a bet, and you're the head writer, well, you can tip the scales in your favor by booking a Lance Storm Sting wrestling match where Sting beats the guy clean in the middle and just walks away.
Well, that's true. And frankly, there's better ways to do it, but he's too dumb to figure that out.
Well,
having him lose clean to a big star.
Have him not have 3 belts, maybe.
An idiot. Oh, okay. There's some explanation there that applies to the twisted logic of the moron making the show. But I assume somebody else must have gone short, and in a panic, they sent two guys out there to do a clean wrestling match.
No.
David finds the house he's looking for.
Actually, he didn't.
Well,
He found a house.
let's explain how this unfolds, and then I will explain what must have actually happened. David finds a house. And we go to the break. When we come back, there's a camera in the house.
Thank God there was that commercial to get that guy in there.
The guy lets David in.
And the camera crew.
But then the man explains, David is screaming the address, and the man exclaims, "That's not this house, that's next door."
Okay, you're already jumping the gun. The moment he goes in the house, he storms into this man's house. It's an old man. And he starts running around in the house, and he's throwing things around. And the old man is like, "Who are you? Why are you in my house? What are you looking for?"
Too much inflection.
No calling the cops. No grave concern.
No.
This madman is running amok in his house. And then finally, David reveals the address. At which point the man explains, "That's next door."
And then I hit pause. And I said,
A walk?
no walk, but it took me some time to process this and put all these pieces together. So here is what happened. Whatever city they're in, there have been camera crews scattered everywhere.
New York.
To catch David when he arrives, when he leaves in his truck. So one of these camera crews, upon learning that David Flair had the address he was looking for, they went to that neighborhood. They found the house, and they said, "This David Flair guy, he's an idiot. Mm-hmm. He won't find the right house. Let's go to the wrong house." They went to the wrong house, knowing it was the wrong house. They knocked on the door, and they said, "Excuse us, sir. A lunatic looking for the father of his fiance's child is going to come to your house thinking it's that house. He's going to storm in. We would like to be here to capture that moment with the magic of film. Is that okay?" And he said, "Sure, come on in. Can I get you a coffee while we're all waiting for the lunatic to show up to the wrong house? And then I'll point him to his next door." This company sucks.
Yes. We got to pretend it's a movie, Vinny.
David, learning it's the wrong house, he leaves to go next door. The camera crew doesn't even follow.
No, they stay in the old guy's
We
house.
watch him go through the yard. He's getting smaller and smaller as he walks away.
Hold on a second, Vinny. If you're going to complain about this, then you need to at least put this over. It wasn't like he left the house and the crew magically appeared in the other house.
Why not? They got crews
They're
everywhere.
like, well, we already set up. We'll just film out this window.
They should have had a crew inside the right house, even though David never got in. That's what they should have done. They should have just stayed committed to their craft. So David's banging on the door, and the guy at the wrong house screams, "He's not home. He's been gone for a week." Well, David says, you give him a message, you tell him, "I'll be sitting here waiting for him," and then he leaves, so he's not sitting there waiting for him.
Well, I think he's sitting in his car on the curb for 7 days.
This show puts my intelligence under constant assault. I must
all
fight back to defend myself.
Of all things. This...
It's so dumb, dude.
Vinny, it's dumb, but like, of all of the things to complain about, I can at least pretend that in the middle of this wrestling show, a sitcom broke out, okay? I'm fine with that. Well, I have far bigger fish to fry, like the next match.
Gene interviews Russo, who cuts another babyface promo.
Yeah.
Vows to win no matter who's backing Booker up. He's going to do it for Long Island, the greatest city in the world.
He's also wearing football pads and a helmet.
Full jersey, pads, helmet, the full bit. It is, in fact, Vince Russo versus Booker T for the World Heavyweight Championship in an Escape the Cage Hell in a Cell match. The entire locker room comes out to watch because it's such a big match. So, Russo hits Booker with a bat over and over again, leaves him laying. He's going to walk out and win. He's the better man by the rules of this match.
Not only that, Russo is a monstrous underdog. There's 5. They send all the baby faces out to surround the cage.
Yes.
Every time he almost wins, all of these baby faces prevent him from winning.
From taking his rightly earned victory.
He is fighting against all odds. Now, there's a very important key to this match. At one point, when he tries to escape, the baby faces don't let him out. They're not going to let him out the door. So Russo, a brilliant man, of course.
Planned ahead.
He's got a ladder. And so he sets up a ladder, and he starts climbing the ladder because he's going to go out the top of the cage and I guess climb down onto everybody and win. I guess they're going to let him climb down the side of the cage. So the plan was that he is going to open the top of the cage, but Sting is going to rappel down and stop the cage door up above from opening. The lid. Okay?
Yeah.
Well, some moron, I don't know who it could possibly be, they booked this show and they put Sting in the semi-main event. And so on this live show, Sting had to walk backstage, slapping hands with the fans like you talked about. And then he had to run as fast as he could to the rafters. They had to fit him into his harness. They had to fit him into everything and lock everything in place and hoist him above the cage and make sure that they dropped him on time. Well, lo and behold, there wasn't enough time. So Russo goes to get out that door, but Sting's not ready yet. They haven't put him in that thing. So Mike Awesome sees what's going on, and he leaps into action, and he scales the side of the cage, and he goes up there and prevents Vince Russo from getting out.
Yeah.
I am not even sure. I don't know this for sure, but I don't think that Sting was even properly clamped in when they finally just dropped him from the rafters, because he did finally come down.
He finally drops on top of the cage. By the time he drops, Booker has already cut Russo off. We don't even know how because you're watching Sting descend. But Sting descends to the top of the cage. A minute or two passes, and next time you see Sting, now he's being dropped to the floor.
Yes.
So apparently they dropped him on top of the cage, pulled him back up, moved him,
yes.
and then dropped him to the floor.
Yeah.
It's like the claw game at the Toy Store, yeah. So
Mark Madden notes Russo is facing impossible odds
and
to win this title in his hometown.
It is a fact. There's a dozen professional wrestlers doing all they can to stop Vince Russo, who's out here alone, from winning. At one point, as Booker T has cut Russo off and is manhandling him, one of the announcers says, quote, Booker could easily walk out, but he's toying with Vince Russo. So the story, now Booker may not have known this was a story, but the story by the end of this is Booker T is the biggest idiot in all the company, and think of the ground that covers.
Oh, yeah.
This, I know
it has been for weeks.
I know I say it every week. This is the worst booked champion ever. Ever. Lex Luger shows up, gives Russo a pipe through the cage, and disappears. Russo beats up Booker for a while.
First he beat him up with a bat. Now he's beating him with a pipe.
Yeah. So he takes out the referee for no reason. No reason. And why is there even a ref in there if he's got to escape anyway? He takes out the referee. EMTs run out to check on the referee. Russo starts attacking the EMTs. Why? Please tell me why he was attacking the referees in his quest to fulfill his lifelong dream of winning the world championship. Then, one of the EMTs is Ric Flair in disguise.
Ric Flair is back.
Ric Flair said, Russo, he's going to attack a referee. They will need EMTs in this cage. I can set a trap. He attacks Russo. He tears him. The crowd had been cheering for Russo, by the way, because he was such a massive underdog in this match.
He was fighting against all odds.
Until Flair cut him off. They like Flair more. Flair puts him in the shortest figure four you ever saw.
Well, he tries to put him in the figure four, and Russo, for some reason, just rolls to his belly. So okay. Flair can't even get it on, and he just gives up.
Okay. He gestures towards Booker. He's all yours. And he disappears as well. Now the natural born thrillers are out there. Everyone is having this giant brawl in the aisleway. You can't tell who's fighting with who. I actually did go watch this back to see what I thought I saw. Somewhere in this chaos, Kwee is brawling with a woman in a bikini. She's like got his head, and he's throwing worked punches to her belly.
I don't know.
What is happening? What is happening? Booker hits all his finishers on Vince Russo. Now they're alone out there. Did we mention that Booker is the dumbest man in all of World Championship Wrestling? He has beaten this man. He's had all his moves. He's got nothing left to do. He cuts a promo on the guy. He goes to leave. The door's right there. Bill Goldberg's music hits. Booker T freezes. The announcers are screaming, "Win the match. Go out the door."
Yes. Not only is he an idiot, but the announcers are pointing out what an idiot he is.
Yes, it's the story.
Yes.
That you, the viewer, are supposed to take in is that Booker T has no brain.
Now, if the announcers, they don't care, but what they should have done was, when Booker was about to go out and they hit Goldberg's music, you just only film Goldberg and you have the announcer scream about Goldberg. Instead, the director leaves the camera on Booker T as he's standing there like an idiot. The announcers point out that he's standing there like an idiot. He comes off as the biggest moron.
So Booker T lets Goldberg into the ring. Goldberg goes to get Russo. Steiner attacks Booker. Booker kicks Steiner. And then more or less at the same time, as Booker steps out the door to win, Goldberg spears Russo through the wall of the cage. And Booker looks at him, and Goldberg gets up. They think Booker has won. All the fans think Booker has won. And they high-five, and they leave.
Yeah.
And that is how the show goes off the air.
That's how the show ended. Well, I mean, Madden thought that Russo won.
The announcers
the announcers did argue about it so that you knew something happened here. You must tune into Thunder.
Okay, I need to explain something now about all this. This show is a massive thumbs down, if you can't tell.
You don't say.
Strongly dislike this show. But everyone should watch this show. Because this show is pure, concentrated, condensed, prescription grade, hospital strength 2000 WCW all at once.
Oh, yeah.
If you say, Vince, I never watched Nitro in 2000, what's it like? This is the episode I would show you. This is what Nitro was like in the year 2000. Good luck to you, son.
Yeah. You know, I don't want to say that Russo didn't get a concussion here, because I'm pretty sure that he did.
Oh, yeah.
But man, what I remember in my head and what actually happened is very different. I remember Goldberg spearing him out of the side of that cage and them flying like 40 feet and Russo hitting that guardrail right in the middle and his head practically going all the way through those two bars and him being folded in like 6 different pieces. They actually did put like a big foam cover over the barricade where he hit his head. And he was wearing a helmet. So it wasn't as bad as I remember. It was still bad. But watching it back, like, they did try to not kill Vince Russo. But it failed.
Yes and no. I mean, Goldberg needed to spear him hard enough to break the cage.
Well, sure, but
and he took full advantage of it.
I'm sure he was more than happy to spear that guy in it next week. Vinny, are you ready?
I honestly don't know.
Well,
I wrote more than 300 words in the finishers alone. Look at this. This is my finishers report. The part in blue. That's the finishes.
Okay.
Jesus Christ. The finishes on this show were: an I Quit Stickball Bat versus Kendo Stick match ends when nobody quits and a woman gets tired of 3 guys having a stick waving contest and submits on her brother's behalf. Victory in a tag team battle royal where nobody knows the rules and a team that's not in the match gets most of the eliminations. Pin in a handicap hardcore match when a clown is powerbombed on a bus and starts to slide, and the guy who powerbombed him tries to catch him, but he slides off and falls to cement and somehow is not killed and then gets pinned. Win via escape in a Hell in a Cell match that had literally 0 build after a woman walked in and handed one guy a pipe, and then a football player stopped the biggest heel in the company from winning, so the biggest babyface in the company could get a cheap victory. Pin after distraction and interference with a chair fails, but distraction and interference by a different guy with a 2x4 succeeds. Clean pin where the winner is not immediately beaten up and someone else instead just walks to the back, clean pin where the winner is not immediately beaten up by someone else and instead just walks to the back triumphant in a match that I can only assume was booked to fill space because a catastrophic error in planning left an unfilled segment on the format. And finally, in our main event, win via escape in a Hell in a Cell match after interference from seriously dozens of people, most of it on behalf of the babyface, who was too dumb to win when he should, and then another babyface, who is even dumber, stops him from winning, and then accidentally screws him out of the victory, only nobody can actually tell what's going on, and the guy who everyone thinks lost the match, in fact won the match, and now he is the heavyweight champion of the world.
You almost got to 4 that time.
Wow.
Wow.
That was a record.
Well,
I need a nap. So bad.
I'm pretty sure this is the end of Russo. And so, we did it.
He sure went off. He went out at peak Russo, man.
He went out on his shield, all right.
Like I said, that was not the worst Nitro ever, but it's so pure Nitro.
Well, there you go, everybody.